Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Hollywood After Dark. It is, of course, the 20th of November 2022, a day that will live in absolute effing infamy, where Bob Iger has returned to tell Bob Chapek, "You're fucking fired." That, Black Adam's interesting finale, and The Rock coping hard, as well as a whole bunch more Hollywood After Dark. Let's fucking go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. If the internet's going a little wonky right now, I'm getting the weird thing from StreamYard. I just reset the computer. I don't know what's going on. But joining me to kick things off is RJ and Caden. Tonight has been a very interesting night, hasn't it, guys?
Yeah, more interesting than another Jarbo bashing the Rock segment, that's for sure.
It is not more interesting than another Jarbo bashing the Rock segment because I'm 100%.
I mean, who deserves more of a bashing, Chapek or The Rock?
Yeah, I mean, no, Chapek, he got completely destroyed.
He got a huger L than The Rock did, honestly.
He got massive L, huge thing. Pretty funny. Real quick here, command unit for $2. Thank you, man. It says, did you get a strike yesterday for the 40K pill? I did, actually. I got a claim for it. The problem with that stuff is I deal with that. Again, if my audio sounding okay, or is it kind of bad right now?
It's
No, you're fine.
now.
Okay, I don't know. StreamYard still giving me that little symbol. I don't know what's going on. Also, before we went live, Reed with a $10 super chat, man, right off the bat. Got to show some love. Thank you. Tomorrow, I'm hopefully getting a response to set up for anxiety stuff. I've been dealing with anxiety pains for the past 3 months. And I think, and hopefully get some good anxiety meds. Also by Bob Chapek. Yes. I hope you get your anxiety meds. I want to touch upon something here in a hot minute that will touch upon that. But definitely, I hope you are doing well. I hope everyone out there is doing very well. And it's just been a hell of a day. I was out doing deliveries when all this news broke today. I was like, all of a sudden my DMs are blowing up, some more than others. And it's just like, I'm like, what the hell's going on? Holy shit. And then I immediately jump over to Max's stream to see if he's talking about it, because I thought he would stop everything. They're still doing that damn box office game. It's like so funny to me.
Well,
They were talking about it when they first broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Max was like, okay, guys, let's get to the game now.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, this is earth-shattering, life-changing, industry-shifting news. But let's talk about whether or not Chappie had the higher box office to Tintin. That was pretty funny.
Box office game's no joke, man.
Well, it's no joke. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. Like I knew Into the Storm was going to win that one round, the Walter Hamada produced round, and everyone thought I was wrong. We're like, no, Into the Storm actually made money because we had it at the drive-in when it came out. So there's that. The cool guy here says, who wants Max his warm water takes anyway? I mean, there's that. Blue Jay here says, hey, that box office game was fun as fun. I am not knocking the box office game, Blue Jay. I know that's your baby. I know you do what you do. 100%. I like it. It's a lot of fun. I might need to try to get you to bring that one over here where there's a bigger audience, expand your horizon a little bit there. There we go. Just a little bit of shade at the Mad Max Entertainment. I'm kidding.
God.
I'm kidding. But anyway, let's get into it here. So obviously, guys, if you want to support everything, again, patreon.com/MadJarbo. It is the best way to do that. YouTube takes 30% of super chats, super stickers, as well as channel memberships. That is a good way. A couple dollars helps keep things afloat. Right now it would be good. This YouTube has been kind of crazy in general, and I don't see it getting any better, but that is just kind of the way things go. Also, if you do like my takes on movies and you want to get my thoughts on them, you can head over to youtube.com/Podio Commentary, where I did talk about the new movie Spirited. And I liked it quite a bit, actually. I really recommend it. I'm surprised that RJ, who actually has Apple TV Plus, has not watched it yet.
I haven't watched it either. And I have Apple TV Plus too.
I make it a rule of thumb that I don't watch Christmas movies until after Thanksgiving. So,
okay, this is one. It's good. It's really, really solid. I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed it. But so Spirited over there, youtube.com/Podio Commentary. There's a lot coming out that I want to talk about still over there. I've been looking at some of the things dropping, like not just like the rest of this month, but there's like some really good little horror movies coming out. There's some older movies I'd like to dive back into. Like you guys talking about Tintin tonight got me remembering how much I really loved
my
seeing
God.
Tintin.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of the cartoon from HBO back in the day, as well as I read all the comics at the library. I'd go check them out back when people actually checked things out at the library. That's what I used to do. So I love that stuff. So yeah, more movie talk over there. Obviously, we're doing movie news over here and some more in-depth breakdowns. But it is what it is there. All right, and then also I want to talk about this real quick. We did get confirmation today that Jason David Frank did pass away.
Yeah, from suicide.
He committed suicide. And that is obviously no laughing matter, obviously no joke, obviously nothing else, but pure sympathies, thoughts and prayers, all that stuff that we can muster from our side going out to him, his family, as well as the Power Rangers community, which is clearly like massively upset. The thing is, like,
I mean, the whole world is. I mean, like I said earlier, I said this last night a little bit, but like this guy, Jason David Frank, he is an icon of fandom, not just Power Rangers, just fandom as a whole. He has done so much work across like conventions and so much work for fandom as a whole. It's a blow. Like, even if you're not a Power Rangers fan, you know this guy.
Right.
He did so much work with conventions.
Yeah,
I was just talking about this at work, and like I was like, the whole thing. I was like, and it's like we're losing like so many greats like this year.
I mean, Kevin Conroy and Jason David Frank back to back.
Back to back.
That's 90s kids right there are feeling it, dude. Like 90s kids, and I'm a 90s kid. I'm a fucking 90s kid. I remember when Power Rangers first came out. I remember playing it on SNES. I remember going and seeing the movie, when it came out, because none of my friends wanted to go see it. So I had to like,
oh yeah, dude, the Power Rangers movie I watched all the time. But dude,
Ivan the Ooze was a good villain. Like, he was a good villain.
Well, not only that too, but I also grew up watching Power Rangers, Ninja Storm, and Dino Thunder. So Tommy was in Dino Thunder, which was cool.
I mean, so yeah, you had your versions of it. See, for me, for me, it was always the original, right? It was always the OT version of it.
Yeah, I watched the original. I mean, dude, like Tommy's storyline in the original show was one
everyone loved Tommy.
Thing, yeah.
Everyone loved, like, you don't understand like how many people out there loved the Green Ranger. It was like,
Tommy was everyone's top one.
Clearly the favorite. Clearly the favorite character.
If it's not in someone's top, if it's not the first one, it's definitely the second one or third one. If not, then I don't know who you are.
Yeah, I've always loved it. I remember, like, so funny story is about 10 years ago, when I was right before I left Los Angeles, I ended up working with this, it was like a contract job where they sent me up to basically like Silicon Valley to judge a debate competition for high schoolers. It was part of this company, right? And they would contract these kind of alternate judges. So I was an alternate judge. And so they bet food, betting, right, all that stuff. But one of my guys, because it was like four of us in a room, it was two guys and two girls in a room. And the guy in the room with us was one of the writers on the original Mighty Morphin series. Right. And I just had to laugh. I'm like, dude, you wrote for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and yet you and I are sharing a bed at this really nice hotel in Silicon Valley, complete with you having a CPAP machine. It was just crazy. Really nice guy. And he's like, yeah, things out there are pretty tough. Cause this was during during the boom of the, what's it called? 50 Shades of Grey, like that whole BDSM shit. And he's like, right now I'm just writing erotic fiction for paid gigs on Craigslist. I'm like, oh my God. But that's the LA hustle for you. That's kind of the LA life. And I think it's just crazy to think about that, where, because a lot of us who grew up there, like, we love Amy Jo Johnson. A lot of young guys my age back then were like, oh, she was like, they had the crush on Amy Jo. But you always thought Tommy was the coolest. Tommy was like, when he pulled out the Dragon Zord and he used the flute and everything, I was like, that was dope, dude. Like, it was like,
oh yeah, especially, I mean, and when he became the White Ranger.
Oh yeah.
Like that whole storyline.
Well, it was really funny. I always thought it was really funny that, like, what you had was like, who was okay, my names are always a little off there. Like, what was the name of the Red Ranger?
Oh, damn it.
It's not Billy. Billy was a Blue Ranger.
Yeah, hold on.
I don't know
was,
why I spaced on that. Jason, right? Jason.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you notice, like the conventions of the color scheme for the first series were a little bit on the side, right? Trini was the Yellow Ranger being Asian. You had the Black Ranger who's a black guy. The Pink Ranger was a posh girl. And then the all-American red-blooded dude was Jason, right? Well, what I thought was really funny was, Tommy was a Green Ranger. Then he became the White Ranger. Then he became the Red Ranger. And Jason became the White Ranger. And isn't Jason David Frank, isn't he Native American?
I believe so, yeah.
Right? So they made the Red Ranger the native guy. I'm just saying, like, this show, as great as this show was, they definitely had some issues with that. I always had a lot of fun. Also, one time, did you guys ever hear, this happened a long time ago, that there was a guy who went to an Arizona Comic-Con and he was like, he had weapons. I think he was there to kill.
It was Phoenix Comic-Con, the local convention I always attended. I was there that year. Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't he there to kill Jason David Frank?
He broke in from one of the side entrances carrying, I believe it was an assault rifle with the intention of, his mission was to kill Jason David Frank, who was attending that year.
Yeah. Yeah. I talked about that. And then someone had told me that he had tweeted out my video or something, or responded to my video somehow. Like, cause I had talked about it, like when it happened and shit. Cause that's fucking wild. It's like,
Jason David Frank had to work with the police and all that. Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine
Jason was the Gold Ranger, not the White Ranger. Oh,
I thought, Jason became the White Ranger. I don't know.
Yeah. It's the gold or something.
You know what? Here's the thing. I lost fucking track. All right. Like there's a lot of, this is why I'm like, look, the original, the OG Power Rangers, that's the one that most of us, we recognize, because after that, it just gets weird. And it's not to say that the show doesn't have its fans, obviously.
The first one I grew up with was Jungle Fury, which honestly, like, was my introduction to Power Rangers. Then I went back, like, as like how they did reruns, and I would watch the reruns of it. And I think the very first one was Evil is Green.
Okay.
Or Green is Evil.
All right. Well, apparently I'm wrong on all that shit. Like, like
I said, I respect the originals. I watched the movie especially, but I grew up with Ninja Storm and Dino Thunder, so that was my introduction to Tom. Was him as the Black
Command Unit. Oh,
the Blue Ranger was Jewish. I mean, yeah. Billy wasn't he?
Well, the actor might have been. I don't know.
I don't even fucking know anymore. Yeah. All I know is that some of the shows just got crazy. So there's that. Also, Command Unit, I did see your watch super chat. We'll take a look at that later on. Couple things here.
The important thing from this all is check in with people.
Yes. I do want to get to that, actually. Hold on.
Yeah.
Maverick here for 5. Thanks, buddy. Says, I met JDF once. I really appreciated what Power Rangers did for his career. It's admirable. Most celebs tend to put that behind them. He embraced it. I mean, yeah.
I would agree. Yeah, I want to mention that too. He's an example of somebody who loved what he did. Like, you know how a lot of actors, they hate being remembered for one specific role, and they hate how that defines their whole life? Jason David Frank was not like that. Like this person says, he literally, like, if I'm going to be known as the Green Ranger, I'm going to go all in. He embraced that. He loved that. He didn't care if that's something people remember him for. He embraced that, and he did so much work out. Like, the dude still played Tommy 20, 30 years later. Still doing stuff with Power Rangers. He loved that role, and he loved the fans who kept his name around,
Didn't he do some fan films as well, or am I?
He did a bunch. Yeah.
Okay.
Like with Dragon on the Sun or whatever.
He worked with the fan film company, I believe, for a bunch of stuff.
He was doing White Dragon Ranger and some fan film series.
I think he was also in one of the anniversary specials that aired a few years ago too.
Yeah.
I mean, you can clearly tell, because as the older I got and I backed off of Power Rangers, not to say that I always thought it was I never thought it was stupid. I always found there to be a lot of enjoyment with it, but you know how it is. You move on and whatever. It was always cool to see him still pop up, and I honest to God, until yesterday, I didn't even really realize how impactful that franchise was. So that's really I know it really hits a lot, which is why I want to say here. Listen, we've lost a lot of people to suicide. And so, Robin Williams, Anthony Bourdain, is that Chris Crow? Or no, that's
no.
Lee. That's the guy from Linkin Park, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jason and Frank, to amongst others who have committed suicide. So listen here, like Caden was saying, check in with someone just to see how they're doing if you haven't talked to them in a while. But also remember that, there's always someone in front of you. You can call the suicide prevention hotline here at 1-800-273-TALK 8255. There's the website, suicidepreventionlifeline.org. You can also dial, I believe it's 998 on your telephone, and that should connect you as well. I believe, I thought I saw that. There's also,
I think it's 988.
988. Okay, thank you. I don't want to get that wrong, but yeah. And then there's also the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, which is something that very much means a lot to a lot of people in this general community because of their work with Zack Snyder after everything that happened back in 2017. So, you can get help. You can definitely talk to somebody and just know that you are definitely not alone. Obviously, it is something that, life gets difficult and,
Right.
and
not just check in with people. Like every time you have a conversation with someone that is, of course, a friend or family, tell them that you love them because, you never know, what they're going through. And that simple 3 words can change their life,
Yeah. Yeah. It really does. A lot of people, I've gotten letters from people,
Right.
a long time ago that were telling me, like, they would say things like, hey, I was having a really rough time, but I like your videos. That was during my anti-SJW phase. So like, they're like, it really like, someone's like, oh, it like really saved my life. And I'm just like, at the time, I mean, it means a lot, but I look back on the content I was making then and I'm all like, well, I'm glad you found value in it, but I don't know if it would like the best, but now it's way more positive and things like that. So I'm happy with it. But yeah, I think a lot of us who do this kind of content, people will find us at various times in their lives for different reasons. And, we put ourselves out there, and I want you guys to know that you're not alone. And we can take a look. I see some stuff coming in people. So, there's definitely, some stuff there. I see Spherical Man with the Power Rangers parody. We'll take a look at that at the end, just because it's kind of like a somber thing real quick. With this, we can take a look at that. Also, Command Unit here for $2. Thank you. Says Wild Force is my personal favorite Power Rangers. Never saw that one. Don't know anything about it, but I'm glad you like it. Jess here for $2. Thank you. Says JDF was very appreciative of his role in Power Rangers. Yeah, that's what they were saying. Obviously, a lot of people out there, he brought a lot of joy to a lot of people. There are people last night that were legitimately upset. Rational here for 2 says, I DM'd you the new Indy 5 leak from 4chan. Oh, another one. Wow. Also, there's apparently a Power Rangers porn parody. I kind of want to see this, if I'm being honest with you guys. I kind of want to, I don't know why. I just kind of want to see what it is. Sometimes you want to look up weird art. And then H Barts for 5. Thank you, H Barts. It says Wild Force, Ninja Storm, and Dino Thunder were my shows in the world of Power Rangers. Will never be the same without JDF. Yeah, man. At least here's the thing. Didn't he show up in maybe I was reading this wrong, but I thought like he'd been in like several hundred episodes.
Oh, probably a ton.
He's probably been in like every single season of Power Rangers. Honestly,
no, not every. No. He was in obviously the original Dino Thunder. I mean, he's been in so much. Not every single show, but
I know. But I was just like, at this point, he might as well.
Yeah. It's just like so much stuff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's there's a lot that he definitely embraced it, and that's really cool. That's really cool there. I like that. Let's see here. Hold on. Luke Stone says, Matt, you, RJ, and Caden have helped me a lot. Love y'all, and all in the chat. Thank you very much, Luke. Glad to be a source of entertainment.
Yeah, it's very kind of you to say.
I love doing this, even though I get frustrated talking about like chasing the news some days. I do enjoy having the conversations about everything. And this is just, this is very much, a tough thing. This is the loss of a very big, a very big player in this game, and a lot of people I think are definitely impacted. So, we can I kind of feel weird to transition. You guys I feel kind of bad about this, but this was one of the reasons why I was late. I was adding this bit in, right, to the PowerPoint, and so let's talk about Bob Chapek. So
wow,
Chapek.
Jesus Christ, Matt.
Jeez, we went from somber to celebration real quick.
Yeah, it's
like I said, I had.
You could have put a little black bar.
I thought about that. I thought about that for a minute, and I'm just like, you know what? We're gonna boost to get through. Today's been a big day. There's obviously.
Jesus Christ. This gets worse the more I look at it.
And then after Chapek and Black Adam, guys.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah, you should have jumped into Black Adam first.
I always get yelled at for burying the lead. So I was like, today we're not going to bury the lead. We're going to dive into it, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
Then there's a lot to get to with this here as well. So according to Discussing Film, which is reporting from Hollywood Reporter, Bob Iger is back, baby, as CEO of Disney, effective immediately, replacing Chapek. So this is obviously the return of Bob. A lot of people,
the good Bob.
A lot of people are very happy about this. I mean, it's
one of the things I saw today, somebody who was talking to people working at Disney, is that this is the equivalent of the end of Return of the Jedi, where the Death Star exploded and all the Ewoks are dancing.
Yeah,
it's like that in the offices right now. So
it's like it's Yub Nub, right? It's
literally Yub Nub. Yeah, it's Yub Nub.
It's Ding Dong, the Wish is dead now.
Kinda. Blue Jay here for $5. Thank you, Blue Jay. Says, Bob, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back. Oh no more. Hit the road.
Wouldn't
Jack.
That be Iger saying that?
No.
Not Chapek?
Well, I mean, no. Well, yeah, it's I think it's yeah, you're right. It would be Iger saying it, but it's also everybody else out there.
Yeah,
saying
I
that
think
as
we have
well.
to clarify too to everybody. This is unprecedented. This is legitimately shocking the whole industry, because this is not normal. Because you remember we talked about this back in July. He got extended for 4 years or whatever it was.
Yeah, they and so whatever happened, and I believe that there's been a litany of things
something really bad must have happened between July and now, especially that he gets fired right before the holidays. Wow.
The thing is, this is not something that they were talking about over these past months, and figured out 3 weeks ago or whatever. No, this is something that happened this weekend.
This quickly. The thing is, man, whenever the story comes out about all the details as to why they pushed him out, it's gonna be one of the juiciest articles ever.
Well, and we're not gonna. And the thing is, though, I don't know if
Chapek can't talk about it.
He's got a non-compete clause and a non-disparagement clause for a while. So yeah, but here's the thing: is all of this stuff is gonna happen. Now, but there are people out there like Jacob here. Before we get into the article, this is what he's concerned about, saying here, no more TVMA content on Disney Plus for Marvel. RIP. We don't know that for certain.
We don't. Honestly,
I don't care though, man. Just because of that. Chapek was so bad across the board. I can sacrifice TVMA content Disney Plus.
But there's Hulu for that, and Hulu. Look, once NBC Comcast pulls out of freaking Hulu, in the next couple years, all of that content is going to be funneling over into one app. They're going to raise the price of Disney Plus as they connect it to Hulu. They're just going to call it they're just going to call it probably Disney Plus. Get rid of Hulu entirely. And then all of that content's going to be on there through parental controls. They're not going to get rid of it. Obviously, look, Werewolf by Night being TV-14 was pretty, violent at times, from my understanding.
Wow, it's almost like I've been saying that you can do a lot with TV-14 in terms of violence, and it'll be perfectly fine.
Well, yeah, you can do a lot with TV-14, obviously. Ash, I see your super chat. I'll get to that here towards the end. There's anything that's not related to this topic right now. I'm going to get to later on, just so you guys know. Moisture for 5. Thank you. Says Bob Iger was one of the only billionaire CEO people. Could this also mean Alan Horn's returns? No, Alan Horn is not coming back.
Alan Horn's retired. He's retired.
He's definitely, I wouldn't be surprised. This is going to be a hot one. I wouldn't be surprised if Bob Iger looks at Kevin Feige and is all like, so how would you feel about Walt Disney Studios? Like John Lasseter's ass, you know, because Lasseter oversaw Pixar as well as Walt Disney Animation and revitalized both brands. I don't know, man. I think I don't want I don't want to overthink that, but that's the thing.
Well, I was gonna say too, real quick. I'm not sure if you put this in your presentation, but there was that report.
Not.
That was that report from Frosty, that tweet where he said the same person who was kind of saying that the board was getting fed up with Feige, the board was getting fed up with Chapek. So then another big person at Disney is getting a lot of heat from the board.
It's probably the Parks guy.
It can't be fucking Feige. I mean, because
no.
It's Mark Tomorrow, whatever his name is.
Well, if Frosty's talking about it, I don't know if it's necessarily a Parks guy. I think it's somebody involved with the movies.
Well, he just said.
I know I don't want to jump on this conspiracy, but I do think Kathleen Kennedy is going to be on her way out pretty soon. So
well, there has been now. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that. Yeah, but I want to wait till after we get through everything because there's still a bunch of info to get through on this one. But yes, the Kathleen Kennedy, I didn't get a screen grab for that. I saw one person talking about it. But there's so much going on. I was trying to grab as much as I could and still be on a decent time. But anyway, Blue Jay here says, I've been seeing Twitter saying Zaslav is the next to fire, but Zaslav's with Warner Brothers Discovery. So he's
No. People are saying they hope Zaslav gets fired.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, he's going to sell. He's going to sell. We know that at this point. He's going to sell. Now, CGH for 2 Canadian, thanks, buddy, says, Bob's get rid of R-rated content, Daredevil, TV-14. I mean, you could do
the show's already decided and going to be shot. Like, that show's not changing no matter what.
Yeah, they're not changing that stuff. I really, I really enjoy...
And again, people have to get over their obsession with ratings. Just hope it's a good show. How about that?
I mean, look, yeah, it wasn't like we'll also look at like, we'll get to that towards the end here. Let's move on. So obviously this is coming in from Deadline. That's a really weird image of Bob Chapek, though. I feel like it's kind of
that looks like a baby.
He looks like they put him through a filter. I mean,
he's a thumb man.
He's kind of, yeah. I was gonna do like a Jeb meme with that, but like I didn't have time to make the one I wanted.
Oh, so I can't remember what the movie I'm thinking about right now.
Oh, hold on here. Garrick here says, what is Doomcock going to say about this? I don't know, but if anyone ever in any capacity brings up Cameron Pasha as a person who knows what the fuck is going on in Hollywood, throw tomatoes at them. Literally throw tomatoes at them. Because like Cameron Pasha has made comments about Chapek being like at first this it was like Chapek is the emperor. And then Chapek was the apprentice to Susan Arnold on the board.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The shit that nothing Cameron Pasha has said has ever come true.
Well, but like the other opposite side of the coin, though, I saw too, is that people were saying that this is like Chapek being gone is a victory for Get Woke Go Broke because Bob Chapek
did they not understand
rumors?
Dude, Chapek only supported that shit in Florida because like he was dealing with a lot of internal backlash from California. Right. Never mind the fact that at the same time, he had ordered that the Parks Department move from Anaheim to Florida.
Which I could see Iger reversing that immediately.
I could see that happening, but I also do feel that because Walt Disney World is the bigger park, I can see why that would be an issue.
But also, I feel like Bob Iger cares more about the happiness of the employees.
He absolutely does. He absolutely does. But I do think the tax breaks out of Florida would have been better for Disney on that front, because as much as because Chapek's a Republican, he's a Republican. He might disagree publicly with Ron DeSantis, but I guarantee you he votes alongside him, And so it's like, this is the thing, like Chapek has just not been good, but I do want to get to this comment here from Blue Jay, because this is so good. Oh, so good. He looks like an actual adult boss baby.
But he also
that is fucking funny, dude.
He also looks like Krang. Like
if you just put
tentacles on his face, boom, Krang.
No, I like the Boss Baby comparison.
I think the Boss Baby, he looks like, you remember those old Steve Odenkirk like Thumb Wars?
Oh my god!
Right, movies that came out, the specials that were just all like Titanic and Star Wars done with thumbs. It looks like that, and people call me a thumb guy. Like they call me a thumb man all the time, and it's because I got no fucking neck. But it's like Chapek there just looks like baby. No wonder he grew out the villain beard. Anyway, let's keep going. So, according to Deadline here, after less than a year in retirement, Iger has returned as the CEO of the Walt Disney Company. The board just sent out a notice that Bob I is back, and recently re-upped Bob Chapek is out. saying here, which we'll get to the full email with what Iger has said. I have a copy of that. So it says, having handed over the baton as CEO in February 2020 to Chapek, a stunning move unto itself at the time, and then serving as executive chairman until the end of 2021, Iger will be a CEO for the second time for the next 2 years, the company says. His mission will also be identifying a successor, something Iger had difficulty doing while on the job on the previous time, postponing multiple plans to step down during his 15 years in the top job. The final stage of a 47-year run at Disney. Fun fact, and I'm sure you guys know this, Iger was a weatherman at first. Yeah. So he started on ABC as a weatherman, and then he ended his career doing the weather in LA. That was the last thing he did on the job before he left. And now I'm wondering, is he going to go back when he retires in 2 more years? He's going to be like, I'm going to go do the weather again.
Well, the funny thing is that they gave him another 2 years. Literally, I want people to put this in perspective. He left. He put someone in charge during the pandemic. Okay. And afterward, he did such a bad job. He has to now come back out of retirement for another 2 years to get Disney back in tip-top shape, like it was before he left, and actually redo and do the process all over again of finding someone to actually properly succeed him.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That to me is the thing is though, it's like whatever happened before, you can tell that they wanted to bring somebody in internally.
They wanted one of the parks guys, one of the financial guys. Yeah. And
so that makes sense. That makes sense.
I think Iger regretted putting Chapek in charge even back then. I think.
He did. There were rumors about that forever. About how, because Chapek was not liked from the beginning. Because when he was announced, all the parks people, if you followed any of the parks people, like Skywalker Brian is here, they fucking hate Chapek. That's a big thing.
He got the name Chapek because of the parks people. The hardcore Disney parks fans have hated this guy for years.
And now everyone else hates him too. So, hey, listen, your reputation sometimes does actually precede you. All right. So it says here that the board has concluded that as Disney embarks on an increasingly complex period of industry transformation, Bob Iger is uniquely situated to lead the company through this pivotal period, coming in from board chair Susan Arnold. The once an overachiever buoyed by success in streaming, Disney stock has recently sunk to a multi-year low as executives have warned of weak revenue and profit gains in the year to come, and also hefty expenses for streaming. Now, this is, coming off of the pandemic, it makes sense, right? As the pandemic is winding down, you have inflation, you've got a bunch of issues with all that. People are looking at the churn. The churn is real. There's so many options on the table. Disney Plus increasing their price. Hulu increasing their price.
Box office too.
Well, I think we need to stop caring as much about the Chinese.
I know, but I'm saying is
think about
the box office is not fully recovered.
Sure,
internationally.
Yeah, but China, but that's not because of the pandemic. China is just going full fascism, so it's like authoritarianism, I should say. So they're doing that.
Overall, their movies are not making nearly. I'm not saying it's bad. Yeah. I'm saying before they've not reached the highs of pre-pandemic.
But you got to remember too that China takes over 50% of the box office. They take the most of the money that China, the Chinese box office pulls in, goes back to China. Mm-hmm. The studios get a fair amount of that, but they don't get anywhere near what the split is here domestically. Which is why that no matter what, still that split here domestically is something that's very, very unique.
Real quick too, I want to bring up there is some this was from earlier this month. But a lot of people are speculating right now that Bob Iger is being brought back in to oversee the next 2 years because there's murmurs that Apple wants to buy Disney.
There's been talks about that, about Apple, because Apple has the cash to outright buy Disney. They have the money.
And they have a previous working relationship with Disney as well.
Yeah. And so, and Apple TV Plus has failed to take off in the way that they want it to, even though the content has been seen as good. And I'm wondering if Tim Cook wants to take on, I don't think Disney wants to have a parent company.
Well, Disney's remained independent for its entire existence. They've tried to avoid being taken over.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with all that. That's just going to be crazy. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but it's it's going to be crazy. Just real quick here, because I see that CJH did bring up a thing here. Who put the star on Disney Plus, Iger or Chapek?
That was he's talking about
who put Star? Canada. Oh, right.
Star is the equivalent of Hulu in Canada. That's basically just that was a licensing thing from when Disney Plus was conceived.
Yeah.
So I guess
So
it's both of them.
I mean,
In a
well,
way.
no,
They both
because
carried it over.
well, but Disney Plus launched under Iger because they didn't
So I
announce.
guess you would say it's an Iger.
You would say
thing,
Iger, yeah. So that's gonna be kind of crazy. But all right, here. So it says that given the considerable turbulence experienced by Disney since Iger left the corner office, and also given his well-earned reputation for being as smooth and diplomatic a leader as Chapek could be awkward and blithe one, Iger was repeatedly asked if he would consider an encore. He always steadfastly refused, recently citing his new phase as an investor and industry observer with a lot more time on his hands. At 71 years old, though, he is certainly not at what is considered an automatic retirement age in a business sector where many CEOs are active into their 80s and beyond. Rupert Murdoch, Disney's largest shareholder, is 91 and still chair of the Fox News Corp. So yeah, and that's like a really that's a really big thing. H-Bar says here, super chat. We'll get to that there a little bit later. But the thing is, though, also keep in mind, what you have to remember is that Iger, as far as I understand it, and I could be wrong, but as far as I remember, Iger has the highest amount of personal shares owned by any one party of Disney. So it's like,
that's part of a severance package when he left, I would assume.
Yeah, he already had that. Like he's got he makes a lot of money.
Although I am surprised, though, that even though he's coming back, Iger will not be chairman of the board. It's still going to be Susan Arnold.
Well, for now. For now.
Well, for now.
They're not going to, yeah, I don't see anyone on the board getting in Iger's way, if you want my honest opinion. I don't see anyone on the board getting in his way.
Well, not that they brought him in, because it's basically all hands on deck emergency. Let's get him back immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's anyway, so this is what Disney had put out as a statement today. The Walt Disney Company announced today that Robert A. Iger is returning to lead Disney as chief executive officer effective immediately. Mr. Iger, who spent more than 4 decades at the company, including 15 years as its CEO, has agreed to serve as Disney's CEO for 2 years with a mandate from the board to set the strategic direction for renewed growth and to work closely with the board in developing a successor to lead the company at the completion of his term. Mr. Iger succeeds Bob Chapek, who has stepped down from the position. That's crazy because, the severance package on that's going to be nuts. Anyway, that's going to be crazy. All right, McLeod, I see you there, buddy. We'll get to that later on. Anyway, we thank Bob Chapek for his service to Disney over his long career, including navigating the company through the unprecedented challenges of the pandemic. Said Susan Arnold, the board has concluded that as Disney embarks on an increasingly complex period of industry transformation, Bob Iger is uniquely situated to lead the company through this pivotal period, meaning they lost all faith in Chapek. They lost all faith. Rationally for $2. Thank you. Says Cameron Pasha said Chapek is Machiavellian. That's right. He did. This is him faking his career demise only to rise like the Phoenix later on. How much you want to bet Zaslav will offer him a position at Warner Brothers Discovery?
Oh no, I would hope not.
So it's like, hey Bob, how would you feel about a couple years taking over DC?
I'd like to run our Six Flags department, Chapek.
Anyway, oh my God. Mr. Iger has the deepest respect of Disney's senior leadership team, most of whom he worked closely with until his departure as executive chairman 11 months ago. And he is greatly admired by Disney employees worldwide, all of which will allow for a seamless transition of leadership. Yeah, it's called the collective sigh of fucking relief. You know what I mean? That's what it is. It's just a collected sigh of relief from the cast members. I saw someone on Twitter say what's going on down on Wilshire? I'm hearing about fireworks going off.
Again, and I'm the people who are probably the most happy with this, with Chapek being fired, are the people working at the theme parks, Imagineers and cast members, and the animators across Disney.
Oh yeah, I think the people, whoever the hell is behind the Galactic Star Cruiser, is ooh, maybe we'll get some solid leadership, because that thing is DOA.
Oh no, they're just gonna kill it. I think
probably which is terrible because I want to do it. I do want to do it, but that cost is insane.
Dude, I'm sorry, the cost is too much, and the experience looks like
it's too damn high. I know. Less than 2 days. It's the whole thing. Jess here for $2. Thank you. Says the Senate has a vote of no confidence on Chapek. That's right.
Pretty much is what happened. Yeah.
That's basically right.
Again, though, it's crazy because the board voted to renew his contract in July. So what the hell happened between July and now?
Well, I mean, there's all the layoffs. I believe that the fact that neither, okay, so I would say this. I would say like
quarter four losses.
Quarter four losses. You had Lightyear fail to launch. You had Thor do okay but didn't crack $1 billion. Doctor Strange didn't crack $1 billion. Black Panther is looking
not
like
it's gonna
it
cross
might.
$1 billion.
It's iffy at this point.
It
like
depends on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Dolph said it should crack $1 billion or come right under, but I don't know. I saw a report today saying as high as 860, which is nothing to like scoff at. But
like of course.
But when your first one pulls in 1.4 billion, you're talking.
There's a noticeable downtick. Yeah. Also, I want to mention too, Strange World comes out next week, and Chapek has like not poured any money into marketing whatsoever, and that looks to be a ginormous flop. So
yeah,
that's another movie loss for them.
Yeah. I mean, like I forgot, I know that was coming out this week and I was like, you know what? I'll wait for Disney Plus because I figured it would be on before Christmas,
Yeah.
Like Encanto was last year.
But if you don't support it, I feel like it's going to be kind of bad.
Well, I know. And I mean, like, it's tough, man, but I'll tell you this though, when Encanto went to Disney Plus, we've watched the movie like 100 times,
Well, we need theatrical animation too, though, man.
I agree, and I disagree with Chapek's assertion that there is no good adult animation. It's only for kids. That's such a bad comment to make.
Mm-hmm.
So
you don't think it's because of wokeness at Disney that they're coming in to fix, right?
No.
Okay. Just making sure. Some people think that.
Most of the people talking about wokeness are fucking morons who don't understand what it even means in any capacity. You know what I mean? Like they don't know what any of that stuff is there. So Anthony here for $2, which asks, are the Russo brothers back at Marvel? No,
it's not the Feige. He's still in charge.
Well, Feige's in charge of that one, although Iger could make a call. The reason why they're not is they have other shit that they're doing. Like they are literally slammed for 10 years. You know what I mean? So here we go. Oh, Zia Jones says Disney destroyed itself by going woke. Disney, here's the concept with that, right? You do realize that like 99% of all entertainment is left leaning. You know that like almost all the stories that you grew up watching, the stuff that you clutch like pearls around your neck, that you don't want to ever see destroyed. Go back and watch them again from the perspective of a left-leaning individual, and you'll see the narratives and the threads that are woven into those stories, just like they are today. The difference, though, is that you're old enough now to see them. When you were a kid, you didn't. But those same kind of stories with those same kind of messages and those same kind of themes were very present, and they always have been. Why do you think that during McCarthyism, he went after Hollywood by trying to claim that there was a Red Scare in Hollywood? Because that was his entire way of getting people on board to think that that was all bad because they had such a massive reach at the time. So it's really ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. So, anyway, let's move on from there. Here's what Iger had sent out. Dear fellow employees and cast members, it is with an incredible sense of gratitude and humility, and I must admit a bit of amazement, that I write to you this evening with the news that I am returning to the Walt Disney Company as Chief Executive Officer. When I look at the creative success of our teams across studios, Disney General, Entertainment, ESPN, and International, the rapid growth of our streaming services, the phenomenal reimagining and rebound of our parks, and the continued great work of ABC News, and so many other achievements across our business, I'm in awe of your accomplishments, and I'm excited to embark with you on many new endeavors. I know this company has asked so much of you during the past 3 years, and these times certainly remain quite challenging. But as you have heard me say before, I'm an optimist, and if I learned one thing from my if I've learned one thing from my years at Disney, it is that even in the face of uncertainty, perhaps especially in the face of uncertainty, our employees and cast members achieve the impossible. You will be hearing more from me and your leaders tomorrow and in the weeks ahead. In the meantime, allow me to express my deepest gratitude for all that you do. Disney holds a special place in the hearts of people around the globe thanks to you, and your dedication to this company and its mission to bring joy to people through great storytelling is an inspiration to me every single day. Bob Iger. Man, listen, I should not be cheering on a billionaire CEO, right? But like I would have this man's baby is just what I'm saying. Like
he knows how to make a very well crafted public relations statement.
He's fucking good, man. Like he's fucking good. Roman numerals here says quit simping. Fuck no, dude. If Bob Iger was like, you know, like he's like, I think you're great, but I want you to suck my dick. I'd be like, all right, for the greater good, for the greater good. You know, I'm just saying, like. I agree with McLeod. That's a speech. Yeah, it's a good speech.
Well, he knows how to talk to the employees. I mean, he's done it for so long. He knows how to be a leader.
Now, did his publicist draw this up? Entirely possible, but
probably. I mean,
but at the same time, you know,
he's got a good publicist. Then
he's got like an Iger. But here's the thing between Iger and Chapek. Iger brings with him, like what you could look at as being like an aura of credibility. You look at someone like Iger and you're like, okay, he's contemplative. He doesn't quickly react all the time. There's times where he does. James Gunn in 2018, which he did work to rectify. But for the most part, he's very thoughtful and he's critical in his approach to stuff. He understands that when it comes to the creative angle, when it comes to the creative mindset of how to expand the business, what he's saying or what he gets is that like, look, you allow your creatives to create and then you build around their creation. You take their idea and then you present that to the marketing team, and the marketing team will then build around that in order to have everyone be symbiotic. Whereas Chapek was like, fuck that, cut that out. We're going to cut out the creative and we're going to absolutely go right to the penny pincher, to the bean counter. And that's what we're going to follow. We're going to follow that mindset. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of, I mean, that's my take on it at least, but it's just like,
well, I want to jump in too and say this. The thing about Bob Iger is listen, I understand that people don't like the guy because, you know, he's a corporate billionaire, yada, yada, yada. The one thing you cannot argue about Bob Iger is that he knows he's a very intelligent man in terms of he is very cognizant and aware of trends in the industry, in the business, and he's very good at evolving. I mean, this is the guy who wanted to invest in acquisitions because he saw the landscape of Hollywood changing. He knew how to expand the Disney empire in ways that no one else really had that for, kind of thinking of. And he knew about the streaming stuff. Now, here's the one thing that's going to be interesting. He planned ahead very well with Disney Plus in terms of buying up all these things and getting Fox and building up a portfolio of a library. Question is, though, now that we were apparently seeing a streaming bubble burst and streaming kind of falling to the wayside a little bit in the hearts and minds of Hollywood executives, what do you do? What is his strategy going to be now? What does he do now is the question when things are so uncertain across the board. That's going to be the real interesting thing.
I'll tell you this. I do not know. But I guarantee you he's got an idea. You know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you he's got an idea because they wouldn't, if it only...
But he's only in there for 2 years, though, so how much can he do is the question as well.
Well, 2 years can do 2 years can do a lot. 2 years can do a lot here. Moisture for $2, thank you, says the only billionaire we love is Bob Iger. I mean, I'll say it. Yeah, you know. And then Skywalker Brian says you should read the small thread I sent you from Jordi Poblet. He brings more scope towards the context of the Iger Chapek relationship.
Yeah, I put that in the private. Yeah, there's a couple interesting stuff in there actually.
I actually did grab one screenshot from him, but you know what? I'll bring up the whole thread because I feel if there's more context there, we'll just.
There's a little bit, yeah. They had a couple things in there about it, which I thought was interesting.
All right, let me just share that screen real quick and get that going. All right, so. According to Jordy here, who is a publisher, producer, writer with Disney Examiner, says, so Robert Iger is back as Disney CEO. The Disney board made an offer yesterday, and he accepted this morning with a low compensation package. Chapek was fired as a result with a large severance package. More info as I can share. So he's getting like less money.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So low compensation means he's not getting paid very much, right?
He's not getting paid as much as he was. But what you have to understand about this, RJ, is he's literally going in there to save the company as well as his own stake in it, his own financial stake in it. Because if the shares go worthless, then there goes his fortune.
Okay, so what this confirms, what this would confirm is that they feel it's in enough of a dire situation that he's willing to come in for less money because they desperately need a new leadership. That's how bad the situation is, would you say, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So, hold on here. Anthony, what's your chat? What about your chat? Did you send I saw your super chat about that one. Do I think Kevin Feige is happy now that Chapek's gone? Yeah. I mean, Kevin Feige, has always, he's always played nice because Kevin Feige is as diplomatic as Bob Iger. I believe that they very much work well together.
But remember, though, I think Feige holds some resentment towards Chapek ever since the Black Widow situation. He was apparently very upset about that whole thing, how it went down.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That was a big mess up. But obviously, look, they're gonna hold the public. They're gonna play nice for the public.
They're gonna play nice publicly,
and go from there. But I really do think that that there is some stuff there. I don't think anyone out there likes him. Okay, so here we go. Jordy goes on to say, as for what's happening with Chapek, I'm hearing that there is a non-disparagement and non-disclosure clause in this termination agreement. I don't think we'll be hearing from him anytime soon about what he thinks. It's also unclear as of now, but I expect that Bob Iger will be tapping some of his former executives that left the company when he left to return as well. He has lots to do and may stop by the Disney lot to begin as early as this week before Thanksgiving. The Disney board had apparently been simmering on removing Chapek for a while. Many internally believe that the poor performance in the Q4 financials reported just a few weeks ago was a final nail in the coffin. The most interesting tidbit about all this is Bob Iger thought about returning to Disney for only 12 hours before he said yes to the Disney board and accepting their offer of being CEO for 2 years.
So it was a pretty quick decision.
Yeah, he very much wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be the thing. Moisture here for 5. Thank you, Moisture. Says, did you guys hear about Spider-Man freshman year getting canceled? Well, there's been nothing confirmed on that yet.
It's not, well, just to clarify, it's not confirmed, but the rumor is that what's happened is that they finished season 1, but the animation team that worked on season 1 was laid off. And apparently they're going to, before this whole leadership shift at Disney, they wanted to see, because of cost measures and budget cuts across the board at Disney, especially the animation department, they wanted to see how season 1 performed before making a season 2. But now I don't know. Oh shit.
Oh fuck. Todd. All right, I'll get to that. I got it. God damn it. $100 from Todd Fair. Fuck, dude. Thank you so much, dude.
Holy
I have plans. I gotta put in this one till I get to that. All right. We'll talk about that.
We'll hurry up.
Because we'll hurry up. Yes. There's some stuff to get to real quick on this one here, but yes, thank you so much for that, Todd. Holy fucking shit, dude. Thank you. Yeah, there we go. Anthony here says Todd is Kevin Feige. And to think
maybe.
Anyway, Todd Fair for the win, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
No, I don't get any of the money, CJ. What the hell? I ain't getting 50. That's all for Matt.
Yeah, I got bills to pay, dude.
No,
I
appreciate the chat asking.
I appreciate, yeah. I'll give him a rub and tug. How about that? Anyway, so speaking of a person who wants to give Bob Iger a rub and tug, Josh Gad is very excited about this, saying, I don't think I've ever been so happy. Welcome home, Robert Iger. The GOAT is back. I mean, obviously,
dude, Josh Gad's he's a company man for Disney. If he's excited about this, there's probably a reason for it.
I completely, I think there was, remember there was talk about Frozen 3, and then that
Josh Gad's a big supporter of the animation division in the parks. And
he's super into that. Yeah,
not support very well. So
I know his whole thing on animation is fucking terrible. But here's something really funny that was floating around today. So if you look up Bob Iger and Bob Chapek on Wikipedia, you find out that they have the same first 2 names.
Except Alan is for Chapek. Alan is 1 L.
Yeah, well, 1 L and an A. Versus that, but it's still, I mean, that's really funny.
That's really funny how close their names are.
It's basically the copy your homework thing.
Kind of, yeah.
So Bob Chapek is the evil clone of Iger.
Yes.
Kinda. Kinda.
He's the clone that malfunctioned.
But let me tell you guys, this is the funniest passage I read all night in regards to this, and this is right here. So Mr. Chapek was also expected to attend the Elton John concert tonight, and the company had planned for him. Yeah, that went live 3 hours ago, so I'm sure I can watch it tomorrow. Mr. John the plan was to have Chapek introduce Elton John from the stage before the concert. And it isn't clear if Chapek even attended. Other Disney employees said that they were baffled by Mr. Iger's Sunday email and immediately began asking if the messages to employees were real or if it came from a hacked email account. Hold on.
So you're telling me that Chapek was supposed to do this grand entrance for Elton John right before the concert started that they're filming for Disney Plus, and he got fired that night?
I mean, like, yeah. That to me, that's a ruthless ass move.
There. That's like a slap you on the way out kind of thing.
Yeah. Brian did post this one in the Discord. That's true. Thank you, Brian. I did see it on Twitter, but I couldn't remember where I saw it on Twitter. So much stuff was flying around so fast tonight.
Dude, imagine being like, because all the Disney employees are probably sitting there watching the concert. They get the email right before it starts at Iger's back. So they're about to watch Elton John. That's funny.
Oh my god, that's the celebration of a night.
No, people are just like they're
that has to be like intentional. Like you get good news right before Elton John. Like Iger knew what he was doing. They knew.
Yeah. I just want to say that I posted, if you guys want to keep up to date on what's going on with the channel, join the Discord. The link is right there. I pinned it in the thing. You guys can check that out. Join up, have a good time. A lot of activity in there from a lot of very interesting, cool people. So thank you guys for that. And then also, this whole thing is just like, but let me say why I think certain things happen.
Yeah, why do you think Chapek got let go as quickly as he did?
Well, okay, so I think it has to do the parks rebounded, but there's still a lot of problems with that.
Genie Plus and all that dumb shit.
Genie Plus, which I will fully admit, like I don't fully understand all of why it's terrible. But is it just a surcharge? Is that what it is?
I'm confused on what it is and why it's terrible too.
Okay, that's the thing. You're confused on what it is because they don't communicate it properly, and it's such a bad. It's basically a very terrible replacement for fast passes, and it's like an algorithm-based app. It's not very convenient. It makes it makes you where you have to overly plan your day, where you can't enjoy like a day without planning it, and it costs money too.
Yeah, because I had Genie Plus on my ticket like a couple months ago when I went, and I was like, I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
it was basically a way to nickel and dime people at the parks who wanted to ensure they got on rides. So it overly plans your day out, and it just costs money, and it's
like
I mean, it kind of makes sense.
It makes the lines a mess too.
Okay, I mean, I can understand like if you have like an algorithm kind of planning your day, it could I mean, to an extent, it could actually work out pretty well. If it just understands,
the problem is that it didn't, and it wasn't communicated very well, and it's not explained very well.
So. Okay, Jess here says Genie Plus is a timed service for select fast pass rides. The good ones are an extra charge. Okay, fuck that.
Yeah.
Okay. Defunctland did a video about that. I should watch that because I like Defunctland quite a bit. So I just need to give that one a check out.
Yeah, honestly, because it was because you can only do a Genie Plus for
select time.
Genie Plus for one ride per 2 hours.
One ride per day per person or something like that.
Something weird like that.
Okay. So it's all crazy. It's all crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Your local neighborhood Martian says, I'm so stoned. It's a good day to be stoned, man. If you happen to be an employee of Disney Animation, you're gonna have a good night. Definitely. So I mean, obviously.
So you think it was parks and what else?
Well, what I think too is also because if they had at their stock price. So tomorrow morning, the stock trading is going to be off the fucking chain. I think the price is gonna. So they release that info on Sunday night, and then Monday morning you're just going to see this massive increase.
Do you think Iger's going to get rid of the ad thing on Disney Plus?
Oh, that's a tough one, man. Like if I were Iger, like my goal would be to streamline as much as you possibly can in the next 2 years.
Well,
I would say,
how many changes can you make? Like some of the stuff was already put in place, so how much can he realistically change now?
Anything that doesn't require the board to agree with him. But again, no one at the board is going to fuck with him. They're not going to do. They brought him in as a fixer. You know, he could sit there and be like, okay, we need to do this, do that. I mean, I don't know what his plans are, but clearly if it only took him 12 hours to say yes, he'd clearly there's been those reports for a long time that he had been upset with choosing Chapek because it tarnished the brand and lost favorability with the fans and the cast members, which he does care about.
Let me ask you this, Matt. Do you think mostly the reason behind Chapek getting pushed out by the board was the parks? Do you think the movies and TV and streaming had stuff to do with it too?
I think if you want I think it's a lot of it's the parks because that brings in like 16 billion a year in revenue. Whereas
so you don't think there's like any issues or concerns with the movies or TV stuff?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, Disney has always, I mean, look, there are definitely faults. Like obviously Lightyear was a big problem, but at the same time, the fact that they had like pulled, you know, because Iger was also behind the change to put fucking Pixar movies on Disney Plus. That wasn't all Chapek, you know, because like Iger was in charge up until 11 months ago. And so that, you know, Soul and Luca and, you know, like those movies, that was
Soul
a choice.
And Luca. Yeah. I don't think Turning Red was part of that though.
No, I think that might've been a Chapek thing, but it's like, man, the thing is like, I love Soul. I love Luca.
Like
I love Turning Red.
Soul. Didn't like Soul and Luca come out like when
6 months apart?
6 months apart.
They were 6 months apart. Yeah. Cause Soul was, it was Soul and Wonder Woman 84 came out on Christmas 2020. And Luca was like June 2021.
June. Yeah.
Yeah. Trust me. I've seen Luca so many times. I love that goddamn movie though. It's so good. But,
I love both of them.
Well, Soul was, oh my God. I love Soul.
Yeah.
That was like such a
Well, I'm just saying, because, you know, like, you know what the narrative is going to be like. It's like, well, Star Wars, the movies are like struggling because Kylie Kennedy doesn't know what the fuck to do.
I do. So
Marvel
quickly getting,
a mess and all that.
Well,
yeah. So we can quickly touch upon that before getting into the other stuff. But,
did you guys bring up this Justin Cole tweet?
No, not this one.
Yeah. About the whole, like, goes back as the ScarJo situation. And it's a big under the radar winner with the news. Iger will be back. Has to be the big agencies like CAA and WME, who weren't shy of voicing how cold and confrontational Chapek had been going back to the ScarJo suit. Iger was always seen as the talent-friendly CEO compared to Chapek, and you always have to wonder if the theatrical strategy changes as well.
That's a valid question. Like, what does Iger think about theatrical right now?
Yeah.
He's probably looking at it from the perspective of like, shit, I don't quite know, you know, but he's got ideas and, you know, but he can probably also talk to Alan Horn. What if Alan Horn comes back? That would just be fucking funny. David Zaslav would be so mad.
No.
Like,
he's like,
what if Iger decides to try to bring back James Gunn?
No, he wouldn't.
No, that would happen. That would happen. But
no, I'm just saying, like, you know, Matt, like a lot of people have been feeling like Disney over the last couple of years have been struggling. Marvel Phase 4, the Star Wars movie situation, the theme parks. I mean, I know you may not feel that way, of course, but a lot of like people are like, you know,
with Phase 4, it seems like, you know, I mean, with the Black Widow situation, like that was pretty messed up.
That was pretty bad, but that was also, look, I view it like this. I view the Black Widow thing as a tough choice in a tough time. Right. And it's not popular.
Oh, he starts
but the thing is though, it's not that they released it on streaming. It's not that at all. It's not that they put the premium charge on there. It's the fact that she didn't get her cut.
Right.
Is what they were upset about. So it's like you got to remember that it was a financial thing that they were fighting over, but the optics were absolutely fucking terrible. Even though Black Widow was coming to Disney Plus, I still paid to go see it in theaters and I still really enjoyed the movie. It's actually, I thought it was a lot of fun. Florence Pugh and David Harbour absolutely sold me on that movie. And so much so that I'm really excited for Thunderbolts with them, you know? So we're good. I mean, there's good, this Phase 4 has had its problems, obviously. But the fact that they had to take a whole year off,
a very up and down rocky.
It has been, but I also feel that because they had to cram it all into 2 years to keep on their own timeline.
Peter Rice, would Iger bring back Peter Rice?
Oh yeah, I forgot Chapek did force Peter
because
Rice
he thought he
saw Peter Rice as a competitor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I wouldn't
be shocked if he brought him back.
Oh, because he was the one everyone was thinking was going to be taken over, but
Yeah.
then it was Chapek, and then Chapek forced him out.
because he's
Right.
because it's a rival.
Right, it was competition. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, yeah. Well, if we start hearing Peter Rice's name floated around, then that's going to be something fascinating. But in the meantime, I think,
Yeah.
look, the biggest thing that I think Iger's going to have to do is fix Star Wars, and I say that
Yeah.
because look, because look, I don't think Kenobi or Obi-Wan would have turned out the way that they did if Iger.
Kenobi or Obi-Wan?
Kenobi and Boba Fett.
Kenobi and Boba Fett. Kenobi and
Oh
Boba.
my
Sorry,
God.
I know they're the same person. Don't mind me. The boomer moment. But I feel like both of those like had issues, and I do feel that it's entirely possible that Kathleen Kennedy will also be
It's time
gone.
for Star Wars
Yeah.
theatrically to come back.
I think
And-
Kathy's going to be gone after Indiana Jones. Is
Do you
what I
think-
think is going
agree.
to happen.
I
Do you
think
think
Indiana Jones is going to be a swan
They're
song. I
gonna
agree.
promote Filoni after that?
No.
It won't be
They're
Filoni,
not,
it'll be someone
because
else.
you got to remember that Lucasfilm is not just Star Wars or Indiana Jones. It's
No.
it's
Yeah.
the
ILM,
ILM,
yeah.
it's Skywalker Sound, it's now the Volume, it's a bunch of other things that they do.
So they're gonna,
Video games, books,
I want to
animation,
mention
television.
this real quick too. Go back and read Iger's autobiography, his memoir. He said that one of the biggest regrets about his time working at Disney CEO is the way that he handled Star Wars in regards to how George Lucas was treated, and also too about how he felt like our strategy when we first started with the sequel trilogy did not work out.
Yeah.
And like the whole mess of like the movies and the spin-offs and all that. Would not surprise me if like Bob Iger comes in and's like, guys, ooh, stop fucking up with the movies. Let's actually make something and let's get it right this time.
Well, the fact that they haven't had a movie now in 3 years,
And we still may not have a movie because the movies are like
not till
spiraling
2025,
right
maybe not till 2025 now.
now. That's the earliest.
And I'll say, look, as much as I think Andor is phenomenal, I think it's fire, I think it's amazing, but it is true that people aren't really connecting with it, and because there's because it doesn't deal with nostalgic characters as much,
Which that's sad. That's sad.
which is sad because it's so good. But it's like, Kenobi had its problems. It was promised to be better than what it was because they were
And
even some
Kenobi
of the
should have been a slam dunk. I'm sorry, but
it should have been. Even
a slam
Andrew
dunk.
Stanton from fucking Pixar, right? Like even he was like, it was a little tough when you're kind of crammed into that box. Book of Boba Fett, kind of was a bit rocky and whatnot. And I think and then look at Galaxy's the Galactic Star Cruiser, like that's a big problem. Disneyland or Galaxy's Edge just got Mando and Grogu. Just got
them, but they're just characters, no rides or nothing else.
Yeah. They're and it's like 3 years later after it's been like one of the biggest shows ever. You now put the character out there. I mean, I understand
the mishandling of the parks, man.
And
don't forget too, Matt. Universal is coming up sweeping with that competition in the theme parks. Epic Universe is going to open in a couple of years.
I will go to Florida for Epic Universe. I would love to see it. I would love to see it.
Iger needs to get that under control too. So.
He does, and I think he will. I think they're going to bring in he's going to clean house, obviously, and I think he's going to put a lot of the trust and faith back into the creators. And what I hope is going to happen, especially in the animation side of things, I really hope the animation side.
As Justin mentioned, he's the most talent-friendly CEO.
And hopefully, over the next 2 years, as he looks to find a successor, he finds somebody who values creatives as much as he did and puts someone in charge much better than Chapek.
I mean, because the thing about Disney is that, you have to put creatives and talent and animation, like, those three things first. And because without those three things, Disney wouldn't be Disney. I mean, no studio would be its studio without the talent and creatives.
I think the fact that a lot of people I think because where Hollywood is right now, is kind of in a bit of flux, and I think
we're in very weird times because again, the pandemic just happened, streaming blew up. But now it's like the movie business isn't making as much money as it was. But in addition to that, streaming hit it's peaked. It's not growing much anymore.
I mean,
so what the hell do we do?
Right. I mean, now that we have Iger back, and I mean, as I mentioned on Max's stream, that Jeff Trammell, who is the showrunner of freshman year, like as the news came out, he posted like a video of Craig on the Hill, whatever that shows.
Craig at the Creek or whatever it is.
Craig on the Creek.
Craig on the Creek, yeah.
Craig of the Creek or whatever. Yeah, whatever that show is.
Yeah, like, I don't fucking know what the show is.
A celebration video, and
Yeah.
then just now posted like a whole thread saying like celebrating 2 years since he's like started working on the show. So, I mean, I think it's safe to say that that freshman year stuff might, that questionability of sophomore year happening and all that is.
Well, like I said too, like literally on my YouTube feed, literally all the theme park channels I follow are making live streams.
Yeah, they're very happy about this, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
We got 5 bones from Jess here. Thank you. Says for Galaxy's Edge in Orlando, they have to throw away the sequel trilogy.
No, I agree. I think setting in the sequel trilogy was the dumbest thing they've done for Galaxy's Edge.
I said that back in 2019 when I went. I was all like, it was cool. I enjoyed my time there, but I'm like,
but you limit your scope when it's only a sequel trilogy.
Because the sequel trilogy ends in like 6 months because it was coming up on the movie, and then of course not only that, but like you've got
why would you not make it Tatooine?
I don't know.
Eras.
I think what it was is they were trying to like get away from the previous stuff to build off of the sequel trilogy. But it just failed to like look. Here's what I'll say about that because like,
people want to see the iconic characters. Though.
Yeah, I know they want to, but they also want to find a way to build out the franchise and build out. Look, Marvel's Avengers Campus has done well. All right, like Marvel
Avengers Campus.
Because Avengers Campus encompasses everything.
Yeah,
but and like what I like about Anaheim's Star Wars is that like it's everything. You find your OG, you find your prequels, you find your sequel stuff there. I haven't.
No, they should. I haven't been to
Orlando, so I don't know what's going on over there.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's the same way.
It's the same. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, I mean the thing is they need to expand that. And yeah, I completely agree with the concept of ditch the sequel trilogy. Take if anything. Turn it into like the Mandoverse side of Star Wars, what's popular right now. And if you need to, they have no problem altering things down the road. I mean, they got rid of Star Tours in favor of Star Tours 2.0, which is good, but I do miss Star Tours. I'll just say. But so there's that. There's a lot they can do with that one there. I agree with you. Thank you for that though, Jess. And then also there's
Hondo Anaka.
I love Hondo though, man. I love Hondo.
That was amazing. Like
the animatronics on that?
Yeah.
And then Jim Cumming doing the voice?
Yes.
Yeah, man. Fucking love Hondo. Moisture for 5. Thank you, Moisture. Says Iger's first course of action should be to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery and fire Zaslav. That's not gonna fucking happen.
The FTC wouldn't let that happen.
That wouldn't happen. That's why but something like AT&T trying to acquire Disney could be a thing. The State of the Union with Disney needs to be strong to withstand any attack. And I mean, unless Iger wants to clone himself, which let's be fair, he might have already done that. Is definitely
they probably have secret cloning labs, right, where they store Walt Disney's frozen
head.
The frozen heads.
They're trying to cure cancer and anti-ism. That's the thing.
Yeah. Captain EO. Oh my god.
By the way, real quick,
bring back Captain EO.
Bring back Captain EO. Real quick before we move on to the next topic, though, speaking of Disney, go watch that new Mickey Mouse documentary. It's on Disney Plus. It just came out a couple days ago. It's actually, it's out right now. It's really, really, really good. Really
I need to finish watching the Light
and
Magic.
They actually talk about a lot of like the war movies and war shorts they made, and also like they talk about like the parodies of Mickey Mouse, like Family Guy and shit, and like SNL, which is funny.
Okay, cool. I'll have to go give that a watch. Let's see here. This says Microsoft isn't doing so well on buying Activision. It's kind of hung up.
A lot of issues, yeah.
It's kind of hung up in the European courts, but they're gonna sort.
Also, Sony's pushing back so hard. They're
gonna stop it. But it's like, I mean, come on. It's just if Microsoft is like, let's be realistic here. In the next 10 years, we're gonna be doing digital streaming, right? So having consoles is gonna be a thing of the past. Everything's gonna be done through the internet. So like in the next 10 years, consoles like. We're not going to see a PlayStation 6. Really. We're just going to have Sony's going to turn into a publisher. Everyone's going to turn into a publisher. That is the inevitability. The problem with that right now is that our our broadband infrastructure in this country is not capable of sustaining it.
Yeah, it's going to take many years to
well, that's part of the infrastructure plan that Biden put in. That's going to work with the broadband. Like once everyone gets fiber, it's going to be fucking lit, dude. I won't have this issue with StreamYard anymore of like, hey, one bar, fucker. But anyway, so
someone said, so the layoffs start with Chapek apparently.
Yeah, well, you know what? Hey, man, the buck stops with him. And
that's I mentioned to you. It's really funny about this. Chapek announced layoffs a couple weeks ago, and then he's out the door.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, fucking karma's a bitch, right? Karma's a bitch.
Like, no, you're not. You're not laying off people. Don't you dare.
Yeah. Anyway, Zachary here says, do you agree when I say that Phase 5 and 6 projects will be pushed back so that Marvel can focus on the quality of storytelling for the movies and shows? No, I don't think it's
going to... think they're going to push them back, but I will say, Matt, and I'll ask you if you agree with this. Do you feel like they're going to reevaluate their plans and maybe convert some of those shows to special presentations? And
I think
movies?
I think that's already did with Nova. They already did it with Nova.
Has Nova become a special presentation? I haven't heard that yet. Did it?
Yeah.
I don't
That's the rumor. That's the rumor.
It's the rumor. Yeah. Is it a geekosity.com exclusive?
No, better website.
No,
I think
it's an actually good rumor. It's not a fake rumor.
Which, by the way, the last story of the night, we'll be talking about that too. Because that was nothing to me. This is the thing. Like so much shit fucking dropped. On a Sunday of all fucking days.
Sunday of all places.
So let's move on because I have a very generous patron with $100 I want to get to here. Talking about this. So thank you everybody. Real quick. Final thoughts on Bob Chapek.
I mean, I have a clip that I want to play, but I'm not sure if I can actually play it. Honestly.
All right, try to see here while you're, RJ, what do you think? What do you predict for the future?
I mean, this is nothing but good news as far as I'm concerned. Bob Iger isn't perfect, but he's a hell of a lot better than Bob Chapek. And again, I'm most happy for the Disney Imagineers and cast members who work at the theme parks. I'm most happy for the animators. And hopefully they are going to be better compensated. They're going to be treated better. And hopefully they're going to experience a lot of layoffs.
Yeah. So. Okay, we can both control it.
I took over a year off and cut you bitches some slack. Tell a friend to tell a friend. She's back. I heard you looking for me. Bitch, I ain't hard to find.
The fuck?
What the fuck was that?
What's funny is that like the sound, it came up and it was an Iger meme, but it wasn't like this. And I was like, you know what? This is honestly, like, he's back, so, might as well.
Moisha here asking, do you think Iger will acquire something else? No,
I think his focus is going to be on stabilizing the company.
Yeah, it will be on the theme parks, building that up, because they already have the top. What else could he acquire? I mean, like, they've tried doing
nothing else.
Yeah, like they've tried doing video games, and he's openly admitted that they got that wrong.
Ooh, well, hold on. There is one thing. Spider-Man, to secure all that back again under the Disney umbrella, but that'd be about it.
Well, that's just a waiting game at this point.
Yeah,
that's literally just like a waiting game. Yeah,
that's like a waiting game.
Yeah, Sony is not going to want to sell, but eventually, if they keep putting out shit like Morbius and Venom, not to say that I hate those movies because I don't. I find a certain charm with them, but again, it's like I keep hoping that they're going to get better. I don't have a lot of faith in Madam Web. I don't have a lot of faith in Kraven or Venom 3.
I have more faith in Kraven than I have in Madam Web.
Well, I think Aaron Taylor Johnson will be good as Kraven, to be fair.
And it has a great creative team behind it, rather than Madam Web, who has Morbius. So,
I just feel it's like, Avi Arad needs to go away.
Yeah,
and
won't it be really funny though?
Just leave. Go in your hole.
No, it would be really funny if Iger was like, shit, I have one last thing I want to acquire. He's like, Kevin Feige, you're in charge of Walt Disney Studios, and then he goes and grabs James Gunn to run Marvel.
For one, I just here's what I think could be happening. Okay, here's a hot take on it. Then we're gonna move on because there's still more to get to. I would say that probably one of the ballsiest moves that could happen in regards to Star Wars would be if Chapek removes Kathleen Kennedy and puts Star Wars theatrical under Kevin Feige.
Oh, you mean Iger? Iger do that?
Yeah, sorry, Iger doing that. Yeah, Yeah,
That
I
would
could see
be
that's a move because I've
crazy.
thought about that for a while, right? Where it's like I'm like it would make sense because because Feige's big first love above Marvel is Star Wars.
Yeah.
What we're looking at a place now where like we know he's developing a movie. Michael Waldron is writing it. Taika is working on like it's all Feige's people that are working on stuff effectively.
Right.
And so it's like having Feige kind of oversee it and moving that over to that could be a thing. Again, there's a logistics side of that. There's other elements of play, but I could just see them like, look, we need a steady hand for the investors and a steady hand for the fans. So, Kathleen Kennedy is a good producer and she should stick with producing, but running the company or running this division or whatever is not something that's working out well for her. So let her finish up Indiana Jones and then also let Feige come on in and oversee Star Wars for a bit to get a couple movies out the door. Because like the way the machines run at Marvel, there's no reason why Star Wars as a movie machine should not be the same caliber as fucking Marvel. Like there's no reason why.
It should be though.
It should be. And it's like Feige doesn't announce projects generally that end up not happening. Like the biggest one is Inhumans.
Right.
That's the only one
most
because
movies they've been announcing
because
at
the
Star
one
Wars are
stupid
not
guy
happening.
who was like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna take it from you.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with all that. Yeah, fuck Perlmutter. You know what I mean? Like to the end of time. Perlmutter can suck it. Same with fucking Chapek. But it's like that would be, if you want my honest take, I think that would be a move that would help steady the ship in regards to the fans going, well, what about these things that we love? These things that you spent, billions and billions of dollars acquiring.
Oh my God.
That need a little bit of work and everything else. But it's
every 5,000 years he'll get one.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. Make Rational here says make Jon Favreau head of Lucasfilm. I don't want a creative and head of Lucasfilm.
Because they need
I want
a business person. Yeah.
I want co-heads like with Safran and Gunn. That's a great dynamic. You have a producer that understands the business and a creative that understands the story, and the producer that understands how to work with a creative to get a good story done. It definitely requires a whole bunch of stuff there. So I think we're going to be, there's a lot of good stuff. Anyway, just before we move on real quick, we got 180 people watching, but only 35 likes.
Yeah,
I think we could get to, we could get to 50, right? We could get to 50, or more. I'll go with 50. But thank you guys very much. Let's move on, though, because this is the big thing I think is another piece of interesting news. Black Panther Wakanda Forever earns $67.3 million in the film's second weekend at the domestic box office, a 63% rough drop.
That's pretty normal, to be honest. It's pretty normal for most blockbusters these days.
It's steeper than they wanted.
It's slightly steeper, but like to be honest, this is right in line with most Phase 4 movies that have been released.
Didn't Top Gun have the same, like around the same dip second weekend, and picked up like the third and fourth weekend?
No, right. I think it only dropped like 40% week 2 or whatever. It's dropped.
I would have to go back and look.
It like Top Gun like hung on, it hung on. Yeah. I still got to watch it.
But the thing is, like Matt, honestly, like I think this is just the norm for most movies released right now. Big blockbusters, they're going to fall between 60 to 65%. I'm not sure if that's because most people just want to rush out and see it opening weekend. Or what?
Well, there's the FOMO.
Like, I mean, listen, it's at $540 million in its second weekend. That's respectable. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah. No one is saying that the movie's a flop, despite what the Phantom Menace wants to say.
Which they keep saying over and over again. It's a flop and a failure.
It's a weird.
It's not.
Yeah. The thing with that, though, ultimately, what it boils down to is a couple factors. One, audiences have been trained to think that, or to understand that these movies will go to streaming within a relative short window. So unless there's a massive reason to go back and watch the movie again, they're not going to have you're not going to get that general excitement out of it. I think Top Gun was such a good word of mouth movie that people were like excited for it. And it was it came out
29% drop.
Oh, 20. Wow. That's
29%. Jesus Christ.
My God.
Yeah.
That's unparalleled.
That's very much so. But I think
no wonder it's going to be the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah, well, think about it. It absolutely. No Disney movie has cracked $1 billion this year, as far as I understand it.
Nope.
But
Doctor Strange got the closest at
got the-
960, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course, if you add in home video sales, it probably got up there and VOD and everything else. But we know that Top Gun Maverick crossed $1 billion. Like can we just give can we just say like congrats to Paramount for actually having a banger year? There we go. The dog agrees.
The dog agreed. No, I mean, listen, between Top Gun Maverick, Smile, what else came out this year from Paramount? Oh, Scream, the new Scream movie. They've had an amazing year.
Yeah.
I mean, even just with Top Gun alone, but like Smile too, reinvigorating their horror division to where they want to make more horror movies. I mean, I'd say out of all the studios this year, they're the big winner. Looking back, like they're the big winner, I think, this year, just for like hanging in there, man. Because Paramount for a long time was struggling for so long, and this year, like they really recovered in a big way.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Although this here says Doctor Strange sequel was a mess. I just
some
watched.
People feel that way.
I just watched it again, and I really, really liked it the second time. I thought it was great, but I think it needed to be a little bit longer. I know Raimi likes to kind of go in for the quickness, but there was a lot there that needed to be kind of hung on to. But anyway, no, look, so the Black Panther, here's my thing with that one. There's not a lot in that movie worth going back for. And that's not to say that it's not a fine film. It's okay. But I'm just saying, like, there's no spectacle in that movie that makes you want to go back and see it again. Top Gun Maverick very much had the spectacle.
It's all about the spectacle, yeah.
Yeah, and like it's about the feeling, right? Like when you start hearing the music and everything else. Like again, like I remember the original Top Gun and how that made me feel, and so I got to see this new one.
Well, you know what I would compare Top Gun Maverick to, actually, in a funny way? Avatar. I feel like both movies were really especially built on spectacle. Be like, you need to see this in the theater and see it in a premium format, like to get the full experience.
Yeah,
like it was really built on like you got to see this movie on the big screen because of what it did.
And then people responded to it, and people responded to the spectacle. And so there's I agree with you. I think there's a lot of that, and that's why I think Avatar 2. By the way, there's a new trailer coming tomorrow night, as well as the tickets go on sale. Tomorrow morning. I thought it was during the game.
It's been like, well, Daniel RPK put out that's gonna be tomorrow morning at noon or something like that with the new tickets on sale. So
I don't know. I'll watch it when it comes out. Obviously, we'll watch it again tomorrow night, and then I gotta buy tickets then. Although like I said, I talked to my dad about like where we want to go watch it. So all right. But anyway, so moving on to the other part of this story, the other part of Black Panther we're going to be talking about another movie that starts off with the name Black.
Yeah.
And that is, of course,
talked about.
Yeah. And, hold on here. This is for 5. Thank you. Says at least Wakanda Forever's drop is not like the 1997 Batman and Robin.
Well, yeah, none won't be as bad as that.
Yeah, I mean, like I saw that opening weekend. I remember Batman and Robin. But yeah. So okay.
Now we can finally answer.
Now we can talk about the $100 super chat. The thank you so generous from Todd here. Says Black Adam was a box office flop. I was curious if you think it was a flop, and whenever they do another Superman movie, my concern, the box office for that will not be great either, because Superman movies do not fare as well as Batman movies. Curious in your thoughts. Well, so when it comes to Black Adam, this is something today I thought was really funny.
Oh, it's IGN post. It's set the world on fire a little bit.
Though I'm sorry. What? Oh yeah, I know, right? Like IGN occasionally has that. So the IGN put out a thing today saying Black Panther, completely destroyed, Black Adam and everything else. And so The Rock, this is what they said. They said Black Panther: Wakanda Forever has earned over $400 million at the global box office, making it the most profitable superhero film to be released this fall. Black Adam, which came out in October, has earned $353 million at the globel box office.
And then the image says Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever's box office has already surpassed Black Adam's total.
Which is true. It's not when we were talking about this the other day. This is not something people aren't talking about. And so The Rock responded. So The Rock responded, and he says, laughing emoji, what a neutral post. I love competing, but at IGN, you guys are in the biz with us. There's no competition with the established global brand of Black Panther compared to Black Adam and JSA, who a year ago no one had heard of. No need to knock us. We're new babies and have to grow. And I just find it to be so funny.
Okay, here's the thing. On the one hand, yes, it's funny. On the second hand, though, he's not necessarily incorrect, though. Like, comparing Black Adam to Black Panther is not fair because Black Panther is a sequel to a $1 billion+ movie in an established franchise, versus Black Adam, it's the first movie introducing a characters nobody really knows. Right? I mean, would that be a fair assessment to make?
I think, okay, but my response to this, I don't know if you saw my response to this tweet. Because he says here, like, oh, no one heard of Black Adam, because that's kind of been his thing. He said this on TikTok too.
Well,
where he
yeah,
was like,
which is true.
He's
No
like,
one
he's like, a
did hear
year
Black
ago,
Adam at the PSA.
yeah. But I'm like, but people know who you are, and you were marketing the movie as you. You were the Man in Black. You were him. You were that character. This is your baby. This is your project. This is you. That's what people need to really call him out on. And believe me, the responses to that, oh, they are roasting his ass. He is getting roasted
Well,
for
I
the
think
cope.
people are surprised he would even reply to this.
Because he's coping. He's coping. Oh, we're babies. What happened to all the lead up of the hierarchy of power in the DCU is going to change? You know, over a year of that, to the point of where it became a meme and it was laughed at. So he actually stopped talking about it. He stopped using it because it was used as a joke. And the movie came out, and again, like you know, and we can argue that, well, without China, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't have it doesn't have the legs. It did well domestically. It held on during a short period of time, or a rather slow period of time. And the movie is like, you know, I'm seeing people say like, oh, it's going to go on to gross as much as Hobbs and Shaw, which was like, what, 800?
No, Hobbs and Shaw thought was 600 million. Hold on.
No, it was more than 600.
Or was it 700 million?
It was like, I was like, yeah, over 700, you know, but the thing is the movie just didn't, 760. There just wasn't enough. As 400 million, it's not going to get there.
Well, you know why Hobbs and Shaw made 760?
Because it's got the branding of the Fast and Furious franchise and it did well in China.
Well, yes, but I was going to mention it too. Hobbs and Shaw only grossed 170 million in the US and Canada, 590 million in other territories.
Yeah.
So it didn't make a lot of money domestically. It was all international.
No, those movies do very well internationally.
But the problem is that Black Adam didn't get the international support, which I don't know why. It's so weird to me. I guess because of the lack of China.
Well, again, we have to approach the China conversation from the reality that they don't want what they view as Western influences. They don't want that. Like, they're shutting that shit down. You know what I mean? Like, that is a factor, a big factor. And it's not like a lot of other movies are banned in there as well, or they're not getting allowed into China as well. You know, so it's like, there is that. And yeah, and also the war in Ukraine has very heavily impacted other parts of the world.
Gotta be honest too. What I also think was an issue. I think the marketing for this movie sucked. I think
the marketing, yeah, because it was all about him. It wasn't about.
Well, I think he had to do most of the marketing himself for whatever reason. I don't think they allocated enough funds to do a proper marketing campaign. Like, you only get one shot to make a good impression. I don't think the first Black Adam trailer was a great trailer.
No, it really wasn't. Kind of bland. William here says it doesn't matter who Dwayne Johnson is. Yes, it does. Yes, the fuck it does, dude. William, you are so absolutely fundamentally wrong on that take. He's got 65 million followers on TikTok, 360 million people on Instagram, and like 20 some million on Twitter. He is the brand. He is the brand. We call him The Rock when we know his name is Dwayne. Most people call him The Rock because that's who he's known as. That is the brand. He is that person. You go see a Rock movie for The Rock. You don't go see a movie for Dwayne Johnson. I don't understand your take on that, because literally every ounce of evidence is to the contrary of that statement. Like, literally. If you go and you look at like Red Notice that came out a year ago, that was The Rock, Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot. 3 big name actors in a big movie. 70 some odd million people watched it. It was one of the biggest ones, came out in 2020. So Netflix greenlit 2 and 3. But they also did that because of the star power of the people involved in that movie. But as I have pointed out multiple times, is I think a lot of that is relegated on The Rock is to people who know him from wrestling, which is why his standalone movies don't do as well. So so Black Adam popping off at $400 million, RJ, is about on par with every other movie that he has done. As I have pointed out
Let me
multiple
ask you
times.
this, though. Let me ask you-
I'm looking at the acting and technical credits, and his top 3 movies that are top 3 movies technical wise is number 1 is Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and then 3 is Next Level Jumanji, and then 3 is Hobbs and Shaw. And if we go to acting credits, Furious 7, Fate and the Furious, then Jumanji as top 3. So
let me ask you this, though. Here's a question that I feel needs to be asked: is it The Rock's fault for the movie only making about $400 million when it's all said and done, or is it the fault of the DC brand and state it's in right now, or is it both?
I think
I would
honestly,
you could argue that it's like no matter what The
think it's
Rock
leaning
did, it's the apathy
towards-
towards DC right now.
it's leaning towards, to me, it's like 60-40, where it's 60% on the DC brand, 40% on The Rock. Like between.
Because
that
I would
right now.
argue, like, I think The Rock did as much as he could from a marketing perspective, considering they didn't allocate much towards that marketing budget in terms of supporting him.
I mean,
But also, too, I feel like there's just so much apathy towards DC right now that no matter what you did, I don't think people would have came out in droves.
it's also one of those movies. I think you mentioned it early, like a while ago, Matt. Is that, and I think RJ, you probably also mentioned it. Honestly, I don't remember who mentioned what anymore. About like the delays and the timing of this movie. Like it should have been a summer movie.
Yeah, they
Well,
should have
No, I
pushed
agree.
DC League of Super Pets to.
I think delaying it. Well, here's the problem.
League of Super Pets should have came out now, and Black Adam should have came out
Here's
then.
the thing, though, right? Here's the thing that we have to consider. I agree with you, Caden. This should have been a summer movie. It should have came out in the first week of August. It would have done much better because the first week of August, a lot of movies performed pretty good there. October narrates this movie. However, if that would have happened, we wouldn't have gotten the Henry Cavill cameo. So what was the better trade-off?
I think
don't know.
honestly,
I don't know.
I think
Henry Cavill came at the cost of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Black Adam career.
I mean,
I stand by that.
I think with this one, it's like, okay, like Cavill being in it, we all thought it was going to be one of those Holland and Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene situations.
But still,
where
I feel like if Cavill wasn't in Black Adam, I feel like that could have killed the movie too. So, like, I don't know.
But it didn't help the movie.
It didn't
help it.
It didn't help it. Nor
So if
did
he
it,
wasn't in
do
it,
anything.
yeah,
the backlash online, though, and just like the overall conversation would have been negative on the movie.
Because the movie would have come out before Comic-Con.
If they kept the headless thing.
No, the movie would have came out after Comic-Con because originally it was set for July 31st.
So okay, but then again, we all are under the agreement here that Dwayne and his team leaked the Henry Cavill Comic-Con appearance. As a fake out, like so to generate buzz for it.
The leverage.
Be so, like, hey, look, people want Cavill.
Yeah, and I look at that part worked, obviously, right? But I think we can agree on that being at least the most likely scenario. So if we're talking, but if the movie would have been coming out, because like I said, the movie was picture locked in July before Comic-Con, and it was done before then. So if they would have
it was
not
done, but they added that post-credit scene in September.
Yes. The movie was done without the post-credit scene.
The post-credit scene was. All they needed to do was shoot Cavill. They didn't need anyone else.
Yeah. How much? Well, I bet you that post-credit scene was done, just without like the threat without having Superman himself show up. Like I think
they
that
had a headless one, and it was a headless Superman with a more brighter suit, and you could actually hear the Williams theme. And then the newer one was with Cavill with a toned down theme and the Man of Steel suit.
Yeah, which he had personally kept.
Yeah,
which I get. But I'm just saying, all of that aside, if they would have released the movie in July when they wanted to, the movie would have done fine. It would have had uninterrupted time
Yeah,
but
and
coming in
honestly,
the
I also think it's one of those things where um, I just think it's all across the board with Warner Brothers movies. Honestly, is don't tell the audience the 45-day release window. Don't, because they're gonna be like, okay, I can just wait 45 days for the movie to come out
Especially when your
and show
marketing
up.
campaign isn't very good or entices people to
Yeah,
go out and see it right
like
away.
especially and
well,
also especially if that's like the third thing you promote in your move, like with your marketing campaign. Like if the first thing you promote is the release date, and the second thing you promote is the movie in its entirety, and the third thing you promote is like the 45-day release, it's like don't do that, because that hurts the movie, honestly.
yeah. Well, I think well, we also,
Because
but Black Adam's also not on the 45-day window. So not
it
that
is.
not that I'm, is it? Because like
Yeah,
when's
it
the
is.
45 day up? That's like right around Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like December 19th.
Okay, because I mean, like it's supposedly on. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the movie's already at
And
the
then,
web
but
rip. It's already
like
out,
as
but yeah.
with Wakanda Forever, and now like in its second weekend, it announced that it's gonna be it's gonna prolong the 45 days. So it's like, okay, now people know that to actually go see it in the theaters.
Well, but again,
Like
we have a FOMO. There's also the FOMO aspect of it,
Yeah.
right? And like word of mouth will do quite a bit. If there's something worth going back for, like the experience, like with like Top Gun, that would make more sense. In the case of
Right.
like Black Adam, there it didn't set anything up in the end. There wasn't like a big, the Superman thing was cool,
yeah.
but that didn't do anything.
Well,
wish
hold on
the-
though.
That didn't do anything
You
though.
could
I wish they
argue. You could
emphasized
argue though.
on the JSA stuff as well.
Hold on. You could argue though that the Superman inclusion, even though it did drop by 10%, like Matt likes to keep pointing out,
I like to keep putting that out there.
it did give The Rock his biggest opening of his career. So that's something that they could take to
And
the bank
then
with them.
yes, he did. He can argue that. He can argue that it was number 1 for 3 weeks, which he does. That's a very true fact. And then now it's number 2, which he can argue that as a win. There's a lot to celebrate wins on. But again, the very fact that he has not congratulated James Gunn or Peter Safran, his good friend Peter Safran, who he's worked with on multiple movies like Shazam 2, and Black Adam, now being the guy in charge, right? Oof, there's something going on with that, and he's not talking about it. He'll give the congratulations to Black Panther, good, like he'll keep up appearances, but there's clearly a shift of the winds over there, and he's not happy because all the work that he's done now lies in the hands of James Gunn and Peter Safran.
Damn. Black Adam had a 60% drop on second weekend.
But again, that's like I mentioned this for Black Panther. 60% has become the norm for blockbusters. The issue is that because the 60% is about the norm now.
No, we didn't. Sorry, no, we didn't, Midas. He did not congratulate James Gunn or Peter Safran on TikTok. I know because I went and watched it the other night.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, just to finish my point. Because the norm for blockbusters now is about 60 to 65%, that can be okay. But when you only open to 67 million, that's not good. You have to open high for the 65% drop to be okay. Sadly, Black Adam only opened at 67 million. If it would have opened higher, it wouldn't be nearly as bad as it was. And bad is relative. It's going to make 400 million. So I guess it broke even, I think. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I think like
Barely.
the movie could do well on home video. There could
But
be
it'll
elements
just barely
of it.
break even. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't quite know how it's going to play out with that. But at the end of the day, though, we can agree that The Rock absolutely got all butthurt. He got all butthurt over an IG post. You know what I mean? Like that's him coping. That's butthurt, and that's the funniest part about it.
Well,
But
I think he's trying to like say like, well, to be fair, it's not really a fair comparison. I get why it's being made, but it's not because again, established sequel to one of the biggest movies of 2018,
Sure,
one of the biggest movies of all time, versus Black Adam, which it's part of a maligned
But IGN was not the
franchise.
only people making that claim this weekend, and we know how the box offices get compared to one another. Like that is just like it. I'm just saying his best bet would have been to not say anything at this point.
I agree. He probably
he's
shouldn't have responded at all.
Yeah, he
but
shouldn't
I mean,
shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. At least that's my take on it. But all right, to kind of answer the other part of this here too. So, whenever they do another Superman movie, that Todd here asks, my concern is the box office for that will not be great either because Superman movies do not fare well as Batman movies. I think if it's so I'm just gonna say it. If Man of Steel 2, if they do that, will probably gross about the same, if not a little less worldwide as Man of Steel. Unless they properly utilize Henry Cavill in cameo appearances as well as almost like secondary, like characters in these. Like we're talking like Spider-Man No Way Home levels of like third act involvement. You know what I mean? Like
hero showing up,
like him popping up in other heroes' movies and having a significant role enough to get the audiences excited to go back and see it again. Keep in mind,
so you're saying having him do a bunch of like cameos and supporting roles and stuff leading up to the sequel first.
Yes.
And yeah, okay. Yes, that makes sense.
I think because
you have to reintroduce him.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you do. This I think with Black Adam scene, you barely reintroduce him because it's just like, oh, like people who know him and who have been wanting him for so long are going to be happy, of course. But people who just seen Man of Steel when it came out once or twice when it came out, people were like, oh, it's that dude from 10,000 years ago.
Yeah, because we know for a damn fact nobody went to go see Justice League because that movie was a flop. Like a lot of people chose
that movie made more money than Black Adam did.
Oh my god!
Higher budget though, $300 million budget, but still, yes. My point being,
to a $200 million budget, I'm just saying it's like
I'm just saying
there's a lot there.
I'm just saying, Matt. Justice League was a flop that a lot of people chose not to see.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like I feel personally that the best course of action for DC is to focus on smaller characters and build hype up to something.
Or how about you just fucking reboot?
Well, that would require recasting everything.
I'm fine with that if you start with a fresh, clean slate.
Oh, okay. So okay. You know what? I'm okay. I've already said I'm okay. Now that here's the thing though, but now that
I want Gunn and Seth for a fresh slate.
Yeah, well, no, I do too. But now that Cavill's been dangled like a fucking carrot on a stick, I'm kind of like I want to see what they do with it if they do anything with it, But there's still no deal in place. We know that, and we don't know what their agreement is with that. And the reason why I just want to kind of get to the the thing here with Moisture says
Justice League 2017 did 426 million.
And what 200?
Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
Wow.
Yeah, Justice League was a complete flop.
Well, I'm not saying the movie made money. I'm saying more people saw it. That's still an objective truth. Anyway, Moisture for 5 says, I love how Jarbo says we shouldn't care much about the box office as he proceeds to care about the box office. I don't know. I say we shouldn't care as much about Metacritic scores. This box office is just conversation for sport. But it's like at the end of the day, look, the Black Adam needed to make at least like 400 million to break even for the studio. It looks like it's going to do that, and that's okay. The thing I'm talking about here is that The Rock very much is like, he shouldn't respond to it. And then Timothy with a great point. Where does Black Adam fit into the DCEU? And and that's going to be what we find out.
It's just kind of sitting there until we know after Flash.
I mean, the thing is, it's like the end of it. It's like he's like funny. He's like not the protector of conduct, but like it's like okay. Like and it's like and Waller was like, if you leave conduct, you'll be put back in my prison. It's like okay, like he can't go anywhere.
Like, he's stuck there. So it's like all right, and that's where he'll be for quite some time.
No, that'll be their excuse on why he's not showing up in any more projects is because he's stuck in conduct.
Oh, he's stuck in conduct. He can't leave.
He can't leave.
God, I could totally see them doing that too. It's like well, Black Adam exists, but conduct. It's just we kind of isolated it. They don't let anyone
isolated.
In.
People.
No one can
enter here and there. The Justice Society and Superman talk to Black Adam here and there, but he's just sitting there protecting it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder like. I would love to be a fly on the wall during the Peter Safran and James Gunn meeting about what to do with The Rock and Black Adam. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, well, because at this point it's going to be a big factor about like how they're going to make it work, and there's going to be controversy with that, guys. There's going to be a lot of controversy.
Yeah.
But we're going to have to wait and see.
Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Man of Steel 2 like has like, if it when it's announced as a soft reboot.
I
think you soft reboot everything after Flash. Use Flash as the opportunity to reset your story.
I think that's what they're gonna do. It's like they're like, even though Aquaman comes out after it, like I don't think Aquaman's gonna be the first movie in that new soft reboot universe. It's probably gonna be Blue Beetle that comes out before Aquaman, though. It's gonna be like the way that they scheduled these movies.
Well, they've been doing so many reshoots of Aquaman. I feel like after Flash, Blue Beetle and Aquaman could fit into that idea of like a rebooted timeline.
Maybe.
So
sorry,
they need the fresh start.
I'm reading Flightcast's response to your tweet from earlier. Just
about what?
Just about the whole like Rock's comment on there and him just like.
Well, like I said, it's not a fair comparison. Like
we do this every week. You read Deadline, you read Variety, Hollywood Reporter. Every week they compare and contrast. Every week,
right? It gets used as sport, though. It gets used.
It's exactly used as a sport. So to get mad about this and then to try to argue that it's and he was kind of arguing a little bit of it being a little racist. Is just he was saying like because he's like as a biracial indigenous person of color, this is tribalism, blah blah blah, and it's like whatever, dude. Like okay, get on your fucking high horse there. It's literally just stupid. But what we got to talk about here, because there's still some more stuff to get to. The last thing, the speaking of DC, especially about the reboot angle of it, there might be another little kink in that as well, and that of course comes with us today. The fact that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck say that their new production company aims for more equitable talent experience. These guys are getting out of the studio game.
Very happy for
of them. Looks really weird.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say I'm very happy for both of them. I think them starting up their own production company is a great idea, especially if the goal is to be more transparent and pay better than the Hollywood studio system and to treat talent better.
Right.
That's a very noble goal for them both to be a part of, and I wish them the best for that.
Yep.
Now, when it comes to what they're working on, though, it's going to get a little spicy because they might be signing some exclusivity with this new production company, and that's where things are going to be really interesting.
Yeah, let me just see here. McLeod. Oh no, hold on, McLeod. I'm getting to that at the end, dude. It's like if we're already moved past the one topic, I'm not gonna go back. Until then, I thought I mentioned that. I'm sorry, but yeah, there's like a lot of JDF stuff from earlier. although as everyone calls him JDF, it's like the Jewish Defense League is also known as JDF. That's like their online thing. So it just throws me off when I see all these comments and they're like, "Oh, the JDF did this." I'm like, "They did what now?" Oh no, I'm thinking of am I thinking of the JDL? I'm not too sure anymore. I'm getting tired. It's been a long day. Anyway, it's been a long day. So all right, Affleck. All right, so it says here, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck say they plan to give freedom and profit sharing back to artists, from writers and directors to costume designers and editors, with their newly launched production company, Artists Equity. The duo spoke about their plans for the new company, which follows the closing of their previous Pearl Street production firm. In an interview with the New York Times, the independent production company arrives after Damon and Affleck obtained a minimum of $100 million in financing from investment firm Redbird Capital Partners, with Affleck and Damon committing to their own unknown amount of capital. So they're
putting money into this.
They're putting their own money in. Yeah, absolutely.
And don't forget,
I was wrong. Wait, Jewish Defense. I was totally wrong on that. I got JDL and JDF mixed up. I spend way too much time on the internet. Anyway, it says here that Affleck says that the new venture is the next act of his career for a long, long time, with the Oscar-winning actor, producer, and director planning to work exclusively with the company.
Exclusively
with the company. Damon, who will produce...
it's like, first he says next act of his career, and then exclusively.
Yes, that's the wording in the interview and the
Yeah.
press release.
So
This is the next act of my career for a long,
words,
long time.
Yeah, those
working
3
with them
phrases or 2
exclusively.
phrases to tell you what he's doing and not doing.
Mhm.
Okay, McLeod, I did see that. Sorry, I missed it. I just marked it. We'll get to that here at the end of this. Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry, I did miss that, but I'll get to that here when we're done with this thing. Well, the thing is, though, what you got to remember is like, the article kind of explains a little bit more. So, Damon, who will produce exclusively with Artist Equity, said the company will allow film and TV talent to take ownership of their creative power, providing a platform for both established and emerging filmmakers to streamline the development of their content. Affleck says, I know what kind of freedoms artists long for and how they can be empowered, treated like grown-ups. I have a feeling that's a dig at Warner's, if you want my honest opinion.
To be honest,
I have a feeling that's a real big dig at Warner's. Now, the duo's newest production company arrives as streaming begins to shift its focus from quantity to quality, with the actors adding that they hope to address the impacts on deals for film and TV makers the streaming companies have had in the last half decade. Affleck says here, as streamers have proliferated, they have really ended back-end participation. And so this is partly an effort to try to recapture some of that value and share it in a way that's more equitable. Not just writers and directors and stars, but also cinematographers, editors, costume designers, and other crucial artists who are, in my view, very underpaid. And
again, this is a very
honestly,
noble thing to do, to start
this
something
is
for the little guys.
I applaud, and honestly, I think this will be a start of something new, and will like put studios in the peripheral view and be like, why aren't you doing this too? You know?
Well, they might also try to shut it down, to be fair, especially if this thing starts gaining some speed. Now, going on here, Affleck addressed his previous experience launching multimedia company Live Planet with 2 others in 2000. That was also, I believe that was also the Project Greenlight thing too. Noting that he was humbled by the experience, but feels ready to take on his latest endeavor. He says, there was a part of me, I have to admit, that was like, come on, these studio guys sit behind desks and make phone calls. The artists are the one who have to go off and actually make the movie and do all the work. I've already been humbled, he said, but my only regret is that I didn't have a sense of self to try this earlier. Now I feel very ready to do it. I'm right at a period of life where you have enough experience and confidence and self-assuredness. And that's good. You know, he's got the new marriage. He's got clean. I think he made a comment a while back when they were prepping the Tender Bar, when they were doing the marketing for that, where he basically said, he's like, I've come to terms, I'm paraphrasing, but something to the effect of, he knows that he'll never have a movie released in theaters again, and that he's okay with that. Like, he knows that he's done making movies for theaters.
Right, as I mentioned earlier in the article, that they're more about quantity than quality right now.
Exactly.
I mean, especially at the start of your production company, you would want more quantity, like a lot of like movies and shows to come out first, and then start, focusing on quality later on.
Yeah, I mean, although I understand, because people will breeze through content quick, which is why so much reality TV gets made. However, finishing up the article here, it says, Actors Equity will have 3 films out during its first year, including an untitled sports drama starring both, directed by Affleck and co-written by Affleck, Damon, and Alex Covery. The project, which centers on sneaker salesmen who convinced Michael Jordan in the 1980s to work with Nike, will be produced by Skydance Sports, Mandalay Pictures, and Amazon Studios. So that will be going to Amazon.
Real quick, they're already making movies for this new production company where Affleck is directing, running, and starring in. So as an actor, he's already committed himself to this new production company.
He's committed to this. This is his next act of his career. He's exclusively here. It's not just as a filmmaker. He's committed to this as an actor as well. So
exactly. Then at the very end here, it says, after its first year, the company's annual goal will be 5 films a year. These will probably be lower budget, very character driven stuff like Good Will Hunting was. And that won him a fucking Oscar.
And I guarantee you, Affleck's going to be directing at least one of these movies per year.
Most likely one a year. And they're going to have deals with Amazon and Netflix. Yeah. Probably they will most likely have an exclusivity deal with Amazon after the first film comes out, in my take, because that just seems like probably what they're going to do. And that, again, that just, in my mind, makes all the sense in the world, because
Well, you couple this too with the interview he gave a while back, where he talked about how he's less interested in blockbusters now. And he
yeah,
wants to do more independent stuff, more
it's
personal
proving more and
projects.
more right that he's like done with blockbusters and done with franchises.
yeah.
Which I mean, again, maybe he can still do cameos, maybe, but not full time.
But yeah, that's kind of the whole point, though. Is I know you guys are talking about this on Max's stream, and I heard William come out and say that he's still going to take roles. If they're doing 5 films a year and he's working on this company, he's not going to do anything that's going to require him to be gone for a long period of time. So anything that's outside of a quick cameo, that's why I think he might be done as Batman. But another thing I want to talk about before we dive into that, though, is there was an interesting little tidbit that Matt Damon talked about on Hot Ones that I feel is going to really kind of explain where they're going with this.
I remember this, yeah.
And I feel like this got a lot of play. I didn't talk about it. Unfortunately.
I remember when it happened, though, it blew up. A lot of people were talking
so
about it.
I was able to find
this clip.
I was able to find this, and this gives you this right now is this clip probably tells you exactly why the artist equity is a thing, because they understand the business. These guys have been in it for years. They understand where, they remember the high times of the 90s and where things are now. So they got to work on that. But this is what Damon has to say.
The DVD was a huge part of our business, of our revenue stream. And technology has just made that obsolete. The movies that we used to make, you could afford to not make all of your money when it played in the theater, because you knew you had the DVD coming behind the release. And 6 months later, you'd get a whole nother chunk. It would be like reopening the movie almost. And when that went away, that changed the type of movies that we could make. I have to split everything I get with the exhibitor, right? The people who own the movie theaters. So I would have to make $100 million before I got into profit. The idea of making $100 million on a story about like this love affair between these two people. Yeah, I love everyone in the movie, but that's suddenly a massive gamble in a way that it wasn't in the 1990s when they were making all those kind of movies, the kind of movies that I loved and the kind of movies that were my bread and butter.
I mean, he's not wrong. That changed with streaming.
Not with the streaming. It changed with, like with on demand.
Yeah, on demand.
On demand changed it, and because you can, like after a movie is released in its window, you can go on demand and click on it, like on HBO or Showtime would have it on their on demand, and you can watch it like for free. And then if it's like, especially if it's like not such a high tier like movie, if it's like but if it's a high tier movie, you'll probably pay $4.99 to watch it. And then came the whole package deals where you get 5 movies for $4.99, and it's like 3 of those movies would be like movies that came out that year, and 2 of them would be movies that came out a previous year with the same actor, and so it was like one of those things where it's like he said, DVDs became obsolete, or to the point where each DVD were costing around $4.99 and up, and you get 6 months of that, and like a million people buying that for 6 months, you get a good $24-25 million throughout that. And then additionally to the money you got in in theaters. But now, like on demand, it's like, oh, you can watch this movie free, or you can watch 5 of these movies for the same amount that you get 1 disc for, and then.
Well, Universal has shown that there's money to be made by doing VOD. Actually having
now you can, but like the thing is that before people didn't really think about that. Like people were just like, oh, I'm now able to do this.
Sure. No, I get all that. I think part of the thing though is that,
I wouldn't say Netflix killed DVD sales, because they also were part of like that. Like they were also doing their own DVD sales too. Like I think what they killed was Blockbuster. They killed Blockbuster. They didn't kill DVD sales as a whole.
They killed Blockbuster, but then that was already on the downward spiral.
But that was the domino effect of it, of killing DVD sales. but the only
I hate
like,
when
the,
I drive by an old Hollywood video and it still looks like a Hollywood video on the outside.
oh my god. I mean, there used to be a Blockbuster on La Brea and Wilshire, and they just tore it down like 3 years ago. And like, but it's been out of business for 5 years. So it's just sitting there like for 5 years for nothing. And
Yeah.
then and so it was just like there. And I'm like, okay. Um and then Netflix kind of died down on their DVD delivery thing. Like no one really talks about that anymore. And then Redbox was a huge thing, but now is not huge. So now it's streaming or SV or direct to consumer or VOD.
Well, I mean, but the thing though, Redbox is still like
It's still
very
around.
popular. It's still very popular.
Yeah,
Like it's still,
but
I mean, like they're everywhere. I see people using them all the time. Like I when I'm out doing deliveries or whatever, if I see them all the time, people are using them.
yeah,
But I
I mean,
think
like with Redbox, it's a shorter time period than what.
sure. I mean,
Uh,
well, I mean, a lot of the studios tried to fight that. Warner's was trying to
Yeah.
block it. Like they
It's
blocked.
legit
Was
a
it?
day. You can only have it for a night.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, wasn't
Before, like when they first started, it was like the whole weekend you can have it.
well, but
like
yeah,
for-
but what I mean by that is the studios like stopped selling wholesale, like wholesale
Oh,
to Redbox. So they would
Right.
charge like they would charge full retail price. You wouldn't get the wholesalers discount.
oh,
Like a lot of the other outlets would. And so because they knew that it would be rented out. I mean, but the thing is though, the cool thing about Redbox is if you're looking to get a new movie for cheap, wait like a month after it comes out, you can go buy it on Blu-ray for $6 from Redbox. Similar
Right.
concept is like GameFly. I mean, that shit's still around. It's still going strong, even though
Sure.
streaming games is a thing, and everything else. People will still do this because not everybody has like hardcore broadband, and there's a lot of rural places that services these areas. I mean, again, look at the DVD sales. DVD sales on a week-to-week basis still completely outperform Blu-ray and 4K. So it's like, and 4K and Blu-ray, depending on the release, play catch up. But for the most part, DVD is still very, very, very dominating.
Well, as this, as if you want to bring it up before I say completely, like that's another thing also is that Apple, like all of their new laptops and MacBooks, they completely got rid of the disk drive.
I think that
And
might have had something to do with it, but I mean,
they got rid of it like in 2017. Like, and that was like a year into the streaming wars stuff. And then and then Apple TV Plus came out like the following year, I believe, right?
I forget when that came out. I mean, I understand like it definitely hurt it, but it's like the people
it's like
who
it was a domino
buy.
effect of things.
Sure, there's a lot of those elements that kind of come into play. But I mean, if you go to right now, if you go to like Walmart, Best Buy, fucking Target, whatever, like the last three,
Yeah.
you'll notice that their like movie section has shrunk and shrunk
It
and
has.
shrunk.
I mean, Target, like I remember
Target's
going to Target
bad.
and like there was like 5 to 6 aisles for DVDs, and now you go there and it's like 3, and one of them is dedicated to Blu-ray, and then one is dedicated to like old movies, and then there's like half an aisle for the newer movies.
Oh, we don't at my Target. We have like a kiosk,
Oh,
right? Like a bay, like a kiosk sort of thing,
oh,
and
wow.
then maybe one little wall. And other than that, they replaced it with vinyl, like literally with
Yeah.
records.
It's
And I'm like, you
yeah,
got to
like
be
it's.
fucking kidding me.
I mean, vinyl's making a comeback, which is absolutely insane.
Kind of crazy to think about that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just a lot that's gone into this kind of stuff. Yeah. Fry's Electronics also went away.
I mean, but again,
I miss
it's
Fry's.
also-
Fry's is always
I
great.
think also what happened is not only that, it was like that the DVD stuff went away, slowly went away. People were less focused on DVDs. Studios were less focused on DVDs. Then focused on streaming. But as they were trying to focus on streaming, and less DVD stuff, they were like, okay, now we have to make all of our money and make double or nothing in theaters,
Yeah.
and make and also then their marketing budgets went a little higher, um,
Well, no, that's true. So anyway, I mean, we could go on for this for a
Yeah.
long time, but there's still quite a bit to get to, at least in regards to some super chats and to check out some videos. Because it's already after midnight here, and Mike, I gotta be up early with the kids, so I gotta.
Oh, right. It's Monday.
Yeah, well, it's my 4-year-old is like threw up twice tonight, so she's
Oh.
not feeling good. So I'm waiting to see if she's gonna wake up or whatever. She's asleep right now, but I have a feeling she's gonna crawl in the bed with me later on. But anyway, I did want to say this though. A couple things here. Command Unit did drop a tenner earlier on. Thank you, buddy. So he says here, sorry about like the whole. I get content claims from watching videos, so content claims are kind of a problem because sometimes they get released, sometimes they don't. But he says, sorry about that. Figured the music in the background could be, figured it could be the music in the background of the miniatures trailers. I guess the the Warhammer channel itself, they've got a big enough thing. They copyright stuff and they claim stuff. Doesn't take the video down. It just claims monetization. Then he also wants to bring up here this Wrath of Magnus, video, which, we can do that right quick. It's only 2 minutes. And then there's some other Power Ranger related stuff that we'll have to wait and see on just to see if that's going to be a bad thing or not. But this is Wrath of Magnus trailer, but Google translated. So get ready for that. If you like Warhammer 40K, this is for you.
Yeah, let's go.
Nails are red and smooth, like a ball. It took $10 for Donald to become a werewolf.
Okay.
Upgrade the pimp game.
Loyalty to Jesus? Did you forget to make a blanket to Satan? Are you really trying to free a man?
This is old!
What? Okay.
Everyone is happy when they are born. Some gradually become cruel dictators, the rest goes wild. First of all, we need money and terrorists. Cardinal Francois is dead. The success of Venice National Magazine marks the start of the intellectual war. I'm looking forward to a very hot summer. These Russian enthusiasts will learn about a new environmentally friendly army thanks to the power of Archie's radicalism. Sign in with Google. My name is Daniel. What a wonderful time to travel to Tampa. The winner shakes his special lip with a picture of a zebra.
Okay.
OMG!
This is going to explode. Tom called. The sea is melting. Russian dogs get fucked in the green bones of the fight.
All right. There you have it.
What is happening?
Don't know.
So confused on what just happened.
There's
There's a
breaking.
great deal of-
So he talked about.
Oh, I didn't even read the.
In the
Google
afternoon,
Translate part.
I sold my children to the Prospero family.
What?
I don't fucking know.
What was that?
That's some weird shit. Welcome for those of you who aren't here all the time. That's Command Unit really likes that kind of stuff. So let's see. Timothy
That's
here for
weird.
$2 says the only way I see most shows is on Blu-ray. I mean, a lot of people do. Real quick about that one. So the Halo series, the first season just dropped on Blu-ray the other day, Blu-ray and 4K and DVD. And I saw all of these articles come out basically saying like, the season has dropped. Here's why you need to buy it. And I'm like, wasn't it generally pretty universally shat on?
Oh yeah, nobody, even the people
Right?
who
But,
stuck
like-
through it, they hated by the
Like
end,
Collider was like, you should buy this. Here's why you need to buy this. I'm like, okay. Like that.
I stopped watching Halo like after the third episode.
I still need to watch it. I need to
I
watch
was
it.
like,
still.
I don't know what's going on. I literally don't care for this at all anymore.
Yeah.
This show deserves way better. Goodbye.
Yeah. Rational here says show the Indie League before you go. I'm not going to do that tonight because we've already been on for 2 hours and 14 minutes. And so I don't want to we could do it for tomorrow. There's still a couple more things to get to. So no, I'm good. But I'll definitely I have it because you sent it to me. We can look at it tomorrow. But there's that. Also, H Barts says here that Power Rangers also reused footage from Super Sentai, a show that goes back to
They
1975.
did, yeah. They reused footage from.
You have
that.
you have to love that they reused all that shit. You know,
Oh,
that
yeah,
they're
of
just.
course.
Let me see here. What is all right? I'm just trying to see because there was because stuff came in super out of context. So yeah, what is it? Who sent me the Zordon as a racist? Who sent me that one? Because that's a college humor one, and like I'm not gonna play that because I don't want to get fucking yeeted. Some things I can get away
You already
with
know
there.
Zordon's racist.
Yeah. I mean, like these ones here. What is it? Bat in the Sun, White Ranger versus Scorpion. I mean, like that kind of stuff is.
That was.
Is that a
what?
fan film or is that like an
Yeah,
actual
it was
show?
a
That was
fan
one of
film
the
that-
fan films that Jason David Frank did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? We can do that. If it's a fan film, that's a little bit different. Fan films are generally considered okay. A lot of the other stuff, though, is just like the YouTube content claims are getting real crazy. So I just want to make sure that that I'm not getting fucked up there. But all right, let me just kind of find out where I am again on this one. Thank you for that. Okay. Ash here for 5 said, Matt, please check out Elon's blue check mark by Meat Canyon on YouTube. It's not letting me send the link. I'll take a look at that tomorrow just because that's like I don't want to. I have to just kind of start winding it down. And this is a lot of stuff there, so I took a screenshot of that. We'll get to that tomorrow. I know it's kind of not always the best, but it is what it is. There's this. You guys sent 40 super chats tonight, so there's a lot of stuff there. Some stuff I have to just kind of go back over and find again. All right. I think, okay, and command unit here, going back to 40K, thank you. 40K has lore smiths, and I believe the concept should be adopted by Star Wars. They weave and guide the different authors about lore and related aspects. Well, there's a story group.
There's a story group led by Pablo Hidalgo and other people who try to do that.
They try, but like, well, we were watching that figurine thing last night, and there was a lore smith who was talking about the lore, and even though I didn't understand a fucking word he was talking about, it was still engaging. Because you're like, okay, I don't know what he's saying. I kind of get the idea of what's going on, and in the way that he's presenting it, I kind of get. So like, okay, like I kind of understand that. Cool. But I agree. I think there needs to be more of the lore smiths that exist for these properties. You know, imagine, for example, you're watching, you know, like, what is it? You're watching fucking, Star Trek, right? Or Doctor Who. I don't know shit about Doctor fucking Who. I don't care, generally speaking. But like someone is like, oh, I'm a lore smith. And like, let me take you through this, or, you know, and there are channels that do that, but I mean, like through an official capacity. But then again, some of these things are like, you know, with how big Doctor Who is, it was the biggest show in the world for a while. How big Star Trek is, Star Wars is. Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff there that can actually dive in.
Listen to Goldmine next year, I'm telling you.
I don't know.
It could be a positive voice in the community, man. I'm just saying.
This is for 5. Thank you. It says Super Sentai's U.S. rights was bought by Shout Factory, the same guys that now own Alf. Oh, okay. Yeah. The thing with those is the rights always go around. You know what I mean? Those rights always get bought and sold.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like
Hasbro just got Hasbro bought Saban Films, and they own Power Rangers now. So that happened recently too.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the Puck News article that's on about the Chapek Iger thing. So yeah, it was about the layoffs and the cost cuttings and his random decisions to do certain things for streaming and the parks. And apparently Iger knew something was up and was going to meetings with shareholders for the past 10 days. And so
something must have spooked the
and then
shareholders.
On the November 8th shareholder meeting, someone asked about the summer strategy as if like he knew someone was coming back. So this was definitely something that was like happening on the side. They were like,
corporate espionage.
Yeah, which
That's
is
interesting.
the good type of it.
Well, yeah,
Well,
yeah, no, of course. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
clearly the shareholders got spooked the last couple of weeks, which is interesting.
yeah.
Well, given how things have gone, I kind of see that happening. So, let's see here. All right. Okay. I'm trying to, you know what? Here, okay. I'm sorry, guys. Like, you know, we'll check this White Ranger vs. Scorpion fan film, and then the Legacy Power Rangers Legacy Street Fighter Showdown. I'm assuming that's another fan one. I don't quite know.
Probably.
I just have to be more careful with this stuff. It's just that's the downside to it. Like certain
No, I
streams,
getcha.
yeah, it sucks.
Where is he? Where is he?
Let her go. I'm the one you want.
Finally, we meet.
It's time to finish this.
Come here.
Batman versus Kingdom of Thorns again.
What's up?
Batman versus Predator again.
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
No, I said it reminds me of Batman versus Predator.
Oh yeah. That was cool.
Oh yeah.
Game over.
That is one of my most favorite beatdowns. The look.
So he all they did is they got him for just that one shot.
I don't know. I think he did the whole thing. Because he would do that sometimes. He would like rehearse stunt coordination and do that shit, like all of it. So I don't know if he did all of it or what. 'Cause he was known to be involved like that. So
yeah,
Saggy would know because she's like really tight with the Power Rangers people.
Yeah, Saggy would know more about that than I would. But all right, so there's that, and then we got this other one right here, which is only a minute. It's from the same channel.
Yeah, Bat in the Sun does a lot of those stunt fan films.
Well, it's like like
oh, this is the video game.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna get fucking claimed.
That's cool. Oh my god.
What just happened?
Stop! I'm not your enemy. Does the name M. Bison mean anything to you?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I destroyed him.
Not exactly. An evil sorceress has revived him and given him even more power.
We need you.
Is that supposed to be Sonya?
Handle the power.
I don't know.
It's morphin' time!
All I know is those. Oh, it's like the full short film coming out. Wow, that's cool.
I mean, that was
awesome.
cool. That was cool.
was cool.
I'll admit that was pretty good. I like that quite a bit. There's a lot of a lot of craziness with that. Oh my gosh, guys! Oh my gosh. You know what? There's look. See, you gotta love.
Gotta admire the fact that he was involved with all this kind of stuff, though, man.
Oh yeah, because well, here's the thing. He knew like whatever they're not bust him on doing it. He'll bring him back when he's needed, and then he does all the fan stuff, and he keeps up the hype. So it's a really big shame, absolute huge shame that he's no longer with us. I think there's going to be a lot. I don't know if what I read is accurate. He just got served divorce papers at a con a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So like, that's just
and like, what it's like, I was like I said earlier, I was talking with some coworkers at work today, and like one person mentioned that like he valued his family, like his family, like that was like one of his values, and I'm like, yeah, and a threat to that very thing that he very much values, probably like what else he was going through, that was definitely a chip, final chip in the shoulder.
That's just
especially
real sad.
Publicly, especially like to be publicly served, like in front of fans, is even worse.
It's something that even Olivia Wilde could kind of relate to.
Yeah.
And then her and fucking
who else was recently?
I don't know, but you know that Harry Styles and her broke up, right?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
They still remain very close, but they've decided to broke up.
Yeah. That's for the better of both of them.
Miss Flo, what's Miss Flo's opinion on this?
Yeah, that's clearly what we need to know, Caden, is what does Florence Pugh have to say about this particular situation? What does she have to say about this? But we'll have to wait for more on that one, guys. But it is 12:30 a.m. I have got to get to
the
bed.
Wild Styles relationship.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah. Eventually, Florence will someone will say something, because like it won't just be the assistants or the hairstylists throwing barbs on social media. Though we'll get some more stuff out of that one there. Yeah. But I still need to watch Don't Worry, Darling. But I know H Barts had mentioned this earlier. There was a free super chat. I am sorry I missed it, but yeah, I do want to dive in to Podio commentary for Clerks. I want to go back and rewatch the first two of them again. It's been a while. Need to watch them again. They're great movies because I love them. He saw Clerks for the first time, so he's just now kind of getting into it. I thought I got to your super chat about Black Adam. Didn't I miss it? Sorry, man.
No, I don't think you did.
Okay, here we go. Sorry. There's so many that were coming in. But doesn't China ban movies dealing with witchcraft and devils or anything like that? Black Adam's third act villain is the whole devil. I mean,
that is true. That probably didn't help them.
Yeah, but it's not. They didn't even let him Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and that had no devils in it.
Well, because Marvel was not gotten into China since Far From Home. So
yeah, so they're just like it is.
They just don't want any of those movies. They don't want Disney movies or any of the shit in there. So
it is really surprising though that like they didn't change the look of Sabak for China.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised too. But
okay, I did watch the movie for the first time a couple nights ago.
Nobody cares.
I felt like honestly they did set up Sabak and Ishmael in this movie. Like even though it was like very like side, they kind of they did more than I thought they would. Like, I thought it was just gonna be some random thing, but it wasn't.
Well, I mean, they did it, but that should have been like their primary focus is making the villain like, you know, you gotta hate the villain. They established a bit of a story, but he's still an afterthought, you know.
I mean,
he's still an afterthought.
I mean,
but
because I mean, it's on purpose that he's an afterthought with the whole Dr. Fate thinking it's Black Adam they have to worry about. So it's like we don't have to really worry about it.
Sure. I don't know.
Until he
Stop trying to get maps like the movie, Kate. It's never gonna happen.
Yeah, I am going to go.
Go.
It is late.
Yes.
It is late, and I have to go to the bathroom. So it's, you know, the older you get, God damn it, is how it always goes.
Well, you need to get adult diapers.
You know what? You know what? Avatar's coming up. I'll need to go buy some. But that being said, we can at least now establish that Bob Chapek is no longer going to be able to harm Disney. Iger has returned, and a lot of people are going to have a lot of hot takes as to why this happened. So we're going to have to wait and see which one we want to believe.
John Campia is throwing a party tomorrow, apparently.
Oh, yeah. We'll probably watch Campia tomorrow, see what he has to say. We'll see what Grace has to say. There's a couple film theory. There's one film theory video I want to watch. I keep getting sent to watch. So tomorrow should be pretty basic because it's Monday. Unless all hell breaks loose. Who knows? Hollywood After Dark, folks. You come here for the good shit. You stay because you like me. All right. See ya.